Baby, let's see how fast this all black Silverado goes. And how many miles is it gonna take to get away from you? You're breaking on the cabo's heart. You got me drinking at a downtown bar. I'm overthinking getting too damn drunk, and that's what I get for falling too in love. Remember that back road, baby. Remember them stars in the sky. Remember that tailgate we were sitting on when you looked me in the eye. I remember those bags, baby. We blew them up, I said let's stay here and plant roots till you and I die. Guess I'm just learning how to let it go. Guess I'm just learning how to live alone. It's hard for me to take it slow. So, baby, let's see how fast this all black Silverado goes. And how many miles is it gonna take to get away from you? You're breaking on the cabo's heart. You got me drinking at a downtown bar. I'm overthinking getting too damn drunk, and that's what I get for falling too in love. I don't think I'm too on ice and cold beer. Baby girl, it's no fair. Baby girl, it's no fair. It's all your fault and you know it. That shit is driving me insane. I saw this truck parked in your driveway at your place. Now I'm packing all my things trying to get away. Baby, let's see how fast this all black Silverado goes. And how many miles is it gonna take to get away from you? You're breaking on the cabo's heart. You got me drinking at a downtown bar. I'm overthinking getting too damn drunk, and that's what I get for falling too in love. You got red flags when I'm colorblind. I ignore the signs, yeah, you know the vibe. And I still get all the butterflies from your diamond eyes when you tell me lies. You're doing cartwheels in my head, releasing my dopamine. You're breaking bad and now I see. What a time just to be alive. Last night you told me things that you can't deny. Just friends hiding underneath your sheets. And your lips are reminiscent. You got red flags, but I'm colorblind. I ignore the signs, yeah, you know the vibe. And I still get all the butterflies from your diamond eyes when you tell me lies. You got red flags, but I'm in denial. You got red flags, but I'm still wild. You got red flags, but I'm in denial. It's a red car foul every time you smile. Cigarette drags followed by the bottle. Yeah, I don't fuck with models, cause I got bitches wild. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, you don't respond to text. Where you at? It's a test. I'm about to hit my ex for the flex. But do I wanna deal with the mess? You know I don't, but I'm a bit obsessed with the sex. And your lips are reminiscent. You got red flags, but I'm colorblind. I ignore the signs, yeah, you know the vibe. And I still get all the butterflies from your diamond eyes when you tell me lies. You got red flags, but I'm in denial.
Yeah, this song puts me in a place. I remember I was living in Malibu at the time, and COVID had happened, and I was feeling a little trapped there. It was time to leave Los Angeles. I wasn't living in Malibu, but we would drive out there to the PCH and look for some inspiring. PCH driving, I needed some inspiring. Peace and quiet, I'm running from the siren. They ain't been around, but they know about where I've been. Had to put the time in. Fuck a plug, you don't need it when you plugged in. They know it's us, we don't need no introductions. It's just us, we don't need no one for nothing. But it's always something. Skipping town, cause I really can't be around
are you all? Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Sweeney. On their way to Dedham Legacy Place for a standout today for Adam Deutsch for Norfolk County District Attorney. Hello, water under the fridge. Hello, Italy. How are you all doing? My name is Grant Smith Ellis. It has been quite a morning. Good to see you. It is Sunday, May 31st, 2026. It's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit here in Boston, where a meteor exploded over the northeast coast yesterday and shook the foundations of my home. I suppose one consequence of a full moon is meteors exploding and causing millions of people around the Boston metro area, up as far as north as New Hampshire and as south as Rhode Island, to think that something was very wrong. Now, mind you, when a shockwave hits your home and shakes the foundations of it and there's no cause, it does tend to cause a little bit of concern. In any event, it is just past 7:45 a.m. here in Boston. It is, let me see, 7:45 would be 8:45, 9:45, 10:45, 11:45, 12:40, 1:45 p.m. in South Africa, 2:45 p.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and 3:15 p.m. in Tehran, Iran. Now, there has been, I think we could say, a concerning series of developments along the southern Lebanese and northern Israeli front this morning. It all started overnight when Israel announced that it was going to take control, literally conquer 55 communities, 52 of them Shia Muslim, 53 of them Catholic Maronite, in southern Lebanon. This was not a good idea. This was not a good idea for a number of reasons. One, because, as you know, if you've been following coverage on this channel, one of Iran's red lines in their peace talks with the United States is a cessation of hostilities and a resumption of the status quo in northern Israel and southern Lebanon between Hezbollah, which is an Iranian Quds Force proxy, one of the best armed in the region, and the IDF. Okay, so what I believe is happening is that there's a very close deal at hand, at least a memorandum of understanding between the Iranians and the Americans, due to a lot of pressure from the Gulf states who don't want to see this conflict continue. There will be no signing of an Abrams Accord extension by any of those Gulf states, who are instead realigning along a Pakistani, Iranian, Saudi, Qatari-led axis, which is actually attempting to eject Israeli presence from the region. Israel has an ally, or I should say a client state, in the UAE, which is in the region as well, but they're very, very isolated, the state of Israel. Israel wasn't even welcome at the peace talks in Abbottabad, Pakistan, Islamabad, between the Iranians and the United States, and Israel has had no direct say whatsoever in the ongoing talks mediated by the Qataris and the Pakistanis. Now, mind you, Israel has a terrible history during negotiations of doing things like bombing people in Qatar who were invited by Israel and Qatar to Qatar for peace negotiations. So I think it's with good reason they're not allowed to be involved in the peace negotiations. But it's created this situation where I believe the failing government of Benjamin Netanyahu, which will be out of office probably by October of 2026 at the latest, because the Knesset's about to vote to dissolve itself, which is the parliament of Israel. Anyway, so the failing government of Israel, run by the lunatic right-wing fringe, Ben Gvir and Benjamin Netanyahu, in a very fragile, 2-vote majority coalition, is on the verge of collapse, and so I think it's trying to establish a new norm, quote-unquote, in southern Lebanon, and by that I mean conquer 55 villages in the south of Lebanon that Israel has been trying to conquer since 1979 in an expansionist agenda, which is directly related to taking more land from the Lebanese people in the south of Lebanon. Now, whatever you may say about whether that's for the right or for the wrong, it's not really relevant to the fact that the only reason Israel's doing this right now is, I think, to get ahead of the peace talks and then argue that there's already a new situation on the ground in Lebanon, so therefore they shouldn't have to withdraw from those towns, and therefore everyone should just give them that land. That's never going to happen. I'm sorry. Hezbollah has been fighting and loyal with Iran and loyal to the IRGC since 1979, 1982 on paper, which is when Hezbollah formed as an organization. Hezbollah is really remnants of the Palestinian Liberation Organization that were expelled from Syria and Jordan in like 67 after the Yom Kippur War. They kind of went up to South Lebanon. They formed strongholds, and then by 79, Israel invaded, and by 82, Hezbollah formed to protect southern Lebanon from Israeli aggression. Then, in 2006, there was another war between Hezbollah and Lebanon, and that resulted in this sort of understanding where Hezbollah is the officially recognized resistance organization south of the Litani to prevent Israeli aggression. So, but you have this government of Lebanon now that for the first time in like 42 years is anti-Hezbollah. And so they're like a client state. The Lebanese government is like a client state of Israel, kind of like Jordan and kind of like the UAE. So they don't really make independent decisions. But Hezbollah answers to the Quds Force of the IRGC and has created a parallel state in Lebanon. They provide banking services, civil services. They're a bigger military than the Lebanese military, and they have more influence in the government than the Lebanese government. In return, Israel tried to open peace talks mediated by the U.S. State Department in Washington, which no one really cares about because they don't really involve Hezbollah, which in turn resulted in Israel continuing to attack in southern Lebanon and Hezbollah, on a sort of 1 to 10 retaliatory scale, shelling northern Israel during the ceasefire. This is what would be called rules of engagement in that area of conflict. Sometimes there's a ceasefire, sometimes there's no war, sometimes there's a war, sometimes there's a limited war. Rules of engagement refer to symmetric proportional response in the context of warfare. So here, if Israel only attacks like a kilometer north into Lebanon, then Hezbollah will only attack a kilometer south into Israel. If Israel goes 5 kilometers north into Lebanon, Hezbollah will attack 5 kilometers south into Israel. If Israel goes 10 kilometers north into Lebanon, Hezbollah will go 10 kilometers south into Israel. That's the normal sort of symmetric nature of the rules of engagement in southern Lebanon and northern Israel between Hezbollah and the IDF. However, we're quickly spiraling out of control here because Israel's not actually taking territory. This morning, there was just an absolute flare-up. Israel isn't actually taking territory. They're just ruthlessly bombing, and then when Hezbollah pulls back to do their guerrilla tactics, Israel will move in, raise a flag, seriously engage in provocation towards Hezbollah. Then Hezbollah will return fire at the settlements on the north of Israel. The more that Israel upsets Hezbollah, the farther south in Israel Hezbollah will fire. Today, Hezbollah fired a kilometer north of Haifa Bay at Acre, which is very, very south in Israel. It's the closest city that's populated to the Lebanese border, but it's south, very populated, and it's only a little bit north of Tel Aviv. Hezbollah during this war has shown the capacity to be able to strike Tel Aviv on their own. It is Iranian weaponry, but they still are firing from the field. What you really have to do is you have to analyze Hezbollah's level of escalation as a direct reflection of the IRGC's willingness to allow them to do so. That's what I believe is going on. Hello, Water Under the Fridge. Hello, Tiffany Bob, and Translator Towel, Interpret Towel, and my dear friend Pyramid Sven 7. It's so good to see you all, and Mr. and Mrs. Sweeney, and Michael Brown, and all of you. Illy out there as well. God bless you. Thank you for being with me this morning. So normally I wouldn't open with a geopolitical analysis, but I think it's very important to understand the severity of the escalation this morning. Let me just take you through what happened. This morning. It happened very quickly, very, very fast. It didn't really start overnight. There was only 1 or 2 drone alerts, maybe 1 missile alert overnight. Yesterday, there was a heavy, intense sort of pace of fire. I'll take you through the updates. Good morning, Menzad. It's so good to see you. How have you been? Let me kind of take you through a little bit. So this is where it started. I'll show you the video of the flag raising. This is Biafat Castle. It's maybe a few kilometers north of the confrontation line. Let me show you behind my head. So this castle is right, where is it? It's kind of near, it's right here. So if we go to this DMZ line right here, okay, it's kind of north of Metula. Okay, where is it? It's right here. You see there's Deir Mimas and Qualalia. It's right here. This little castle thing. Biafat Castle. See it behind my head? It's north of Deir Mimas, right there. Okay, that's that castle. So it's not very far north of the northernmost Israeli settlement. Hello, Robson. It's so good to see you, my friend. We've had a pretty marked escalation this morning, and it's not just because of Israel raising its flag over this castle in Lebanon, which signals an intent to take territory, by the way. You should not mistake this. The Israeli aggression in southern Lebanon is causing the flare-up in this conflict. It's actually probably, remember, I believe Bibi needs this war to keep going, the leader of Israel right now, in order to protect himself from domestic incarceration. But this caused a huge flare-up, along with the announcement overnight that Israel intends to expand the conflict and take as much territory as they can in the south of Lebanon, and then argue that because they already did that, they shouldn't be forced to withdraw under the U.S.-Iranian ceasefire. I don't believe for 1 second that Iran would ever go along with it. I also don't believe that the current U.S. administration is capable of negotiating a peace deal. And I also don't really believe that there's ever really been a peace deal or an attempt to obtain peace. And all we really saw was a drawdown in the active kinetic hostilities and a shift to economic warfare with occasional skirmishes. The reality is you're also going to find out that interception the U.S. claimed after Iran struck the base in, I believe it was Kuwait the other day, there was no interception. Multiple U.S. soldiers were injured, and an MQ-9 Reaper drone was destroyed. So, just serious problems. Hello, Shannon, my dear friend. Good to see you. So, I'm just going to give you the updates before I become incredulous with my analysis about all this, but we're in a very perilous situation. Remember, the Hajj in Saudi Arabia also just ended yesterday. That's a large pilgrimage that every Muslim who's able to do so undertakes at least once during their life. Hi, Ann. Good morning. So I never really expected kinetic warfare during like the holiest pilgrimage of the Muslim calendar year. So I was already on edge about today and yesterday. Well, it technically ended yesterday, but it takes some time to clear all the pilgrims out. I was already on edge. I've always felt that the very random variable in this equation of peace is Benjamin Netanyahu's government in Israel and South Lebanon in particular, and the Strait of Hormuz. But the Strait of Hormuz seems like it actually can be resolved, although it's very mined. But it seems like what could actually end up causing the collapse of all these peace efforts is Benjamin Netanyahu's intransience and his bloodlust in southern Lebanon. It's really just territorial expansionism by another name and bloodlust. He just I don't know why. He's a very sick man. He has more bodies on him than almost, I think, any current living figure anywhere. It's kind of sad. It's more than sad. It's a humanitarian tragedy. And let me be clear. I treat the bombings in South Lebanon and in Israel with the same severity that I would treat bombings in any country. And these are very serious escalations. The world can't look away just because the ferocity of the pace of bombings. It's a lot of bombings. But it's absolutely important that we look at them all. But I just want to be clear that the reason you saw like 50 alerts this morning, and I can take you through them all, there were a lot of them. It started sort of up towards the north near Hanya, but then it quickly moved south, and I'll be able to show you them. I documented each and every one of them. So this was the alert near Haifa Bay. The rockets came hard and fast. It was all the way up near Acre, and then all the way down to Kiryat Yam, and then there was alerts at the same time on the northern border. This was constant and ferocious, and if I'm right, Hezbollah's pattern has been to fire at about 5 minutes after the top of the hour every hour. If I'm right, you'll hear a bunch of alarms going off in like 3 to 5 minutes, perhaps earlier. But I also have to just show you the amount of alerts we've already had today. I can't even do my recap for you of yesterday. You saw more alerts there. Then you can just see the scale of destruction. But before we even get to what's happening in terms of the bombing, here's a video of the Israeli troops actually storming that castle. I don't know who got a drone there. It must be their own drone. But that's the Israeli troops storming that castle. It's like a symbolic castle that they planted their flag on. So that's That's what caused this flare-up, along with the evacuation orders. Now, these are all different alerts. Everything you're seeing fly by on your screen was a different alert. I'll show you some statements from the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament as well, and I'll give you the update from Trey Yingst, and then we'll go over yesterday. There is a lot going on. There's a lot to digest. Let me get you caught up. Let's start with this quick clip from Trey Yingst. He posted it on his X. It's just a few minutes, and I'll analyze it from this morning. Trey Yingst.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Reports indicate President Trump is holding the line in negotiations with Iran, demanding several amendments to the proposed agreement during a Situation Room meeting late last week. Now, the president spoke with Fox News over the weekend, indicating the United States is very close to a good deal.
So we're getting what we want slowly. Very tough negotiators. It takes a long time. I'm in no hurry. I'd like to say I'm in a hurry because, you know, gasoline prices are going to come tumbling down. But if you're going to be in a hurry, you're not going to make a good deal. And slowly but surely, we're getting, I think, what we want. And if we don't get what we want, we're going to end it a different way.
President Trump making clear the military option remains on the table if Iran doesn't sign his deal. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth traveled to Singapore, where he echoed President Trump's desire to reach an agreement with Iran, adding that the U.S. military capabilities are the most powerful incentive for Iran to give up its nuclear ambitions.
So Iran knows very, very clearly what our expectations are, and that's on the negotiating team to deliver. They're coming in our direction. The talks have been productive. I think they know where it needs to go.
In addition to Iran, we're also tracking developments in the conflict between Israel and Iran's largest proxy, Hezbollah. Drones and rockets soared through the skies of northern Israel throughout the weekend as Israel launched new airstrikes and pushed ground forces deeper into southern Lebanon.
From here, the battle against Hezbollah in the north is being managed. And I must tell you that there are very impressive results here. Our forces have crossed the Litani. They have advanced to controlling positions.
The belief here is if an agreement is reached between the United States and Iran, it could end the conflict along Israel's northern border. Even in the last 5 minutes, sirens were sounding across the northern part of this country amid new Hezbollah attacks.
Yeah. What a surprise that there's new Hezbollah attacks when the entire south of Lebanon is being bombed and under forced displacement orders. Let's take a look at some of the latest remarks from the Iranian Speaker of the Parliament this morning. This was just 1 hour ago. It was initially published by INSA in Farsi. I translated it for you into the English with captions on the bottom. So you heard the American perspective on where things are. Let's take a listen to the leader of the Iranian negotiating delegation, the Speaker of the Parliament, the Iranian Parliament, which is, of course, a subservient political body to the Supreme Leader, the Supreme National Council, and the IRGC. Let's take a listen to his remarks, translated into English from this morning, just an hour ago.
در این جنگ سرنوشت ساز میدان مبارزه نظامی، میدان مبارزه خیابان، میدان مبارزه دیپلماسی و میدان مبارزه خدمت به مردم 4 میدان از یک مبارزه تمام عیار هستند. آنچه در میدان نظامی و با موشک‌های ما به دست آمده با پشتیبانی و حمایت مردم بوده است و کار دیپلماسی این است که این پیروزی‌ها را به دستاوردهای سیاسی و حقوقی تبدیل کند و وظیفه میدان خدمت این است که با پشتیبانی این پیروزی‌ها مسائل مردم را حل نماید. در این مسیر همانطور که بارها عرض کردم سربازان میدان مبارزه دیپلماسی هیچ اعتمادی به حرفها و وعده‌های دشمن ندارند. آنچه برای ما ملاک است دستاوردهای عینی است که باید کسب کنید تا در مقابل آن دست به انجام تعهدات خود بزنیم و تا اطمینان پیدا نکنیم که حقوق ملت ایران را گرفته ایم هیچ توافقی را تأیید نخواهیم کرد. تضمین این راهبرد جان ماست که کف دست گرفته ایم تا نثار مردم ایران کنیم. به فضل الهی و با ایستادگی و قدرت نیروهای نظامی و مردم عزیز و مبعوث شده ایران در کنار مجاهدت‌های مدیران و مسئولان برای کاهش مشکلات اقتصادی و معیشتی مردم من اطمینان دارم که از این جنگ بزرگ با پیروزی خارج خواهیم شد و همان گونه که امام شهید ما در هفته های پایانی عمر شریفشان فرمودند به زودی زود خداوند احساس پیروزی را در دلهای همه مردم ایران رواج خواهد داد.
So just some of the remarks from the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament. Let me show you, I think I have one more series of remarks from him. Let's take a look. He was speaking this morning. Very rare you get to actually hear the Iranian delegation speak directly, so let's take a listen to this one as well.
شما بهتر از من میدانید که ما در حال عقب نشاندن دشمن در یک جنگ بزرگ و تاریخ ساز هستیم. همانطور که رهبر انقلاب هم تأکید فرمودند مهمترین عامل پیروزی در این جنگ نیز انسجام و وحدت است. آنچه عقب نشینی های دشمن را پدید آورده در کنار قدرت نظامی و آمادگی دفاعی رزمندگان ایران اسلامی ایستادگی مردم و وحدت آنها در مقابل دشمن غدار است. این رمز پیروزی باید حفظ شود. دشمن در فاز جدید جنگ از طریق فشار اقتصادی و جو رسانه‌ای به دنبال ایجاد اختلاف و از بین بردن انسجام کشور است تا شکست نظامی خود را جبران و ما را وادار به تسلیم کند. زهی خیال باطل. ملت بزرگ و تاریخ ساز ایران امروز دیگر می‌دانند که در نقطه حساس و تاریخی ایستادند که آیندگان حسرتش را خواهند خورد و به همین جهت در مقابل دشمن جلاد و آدمکش که کمر بر نابودی ایران و اسلام بسته مقاومت می‌کنند تا ایرانیان سالهای آینده به پدران و مادران خود افتخار کنند.
So that was the Iranian delegation, who are clearly speaking in a very different tone than Mr. President Trump. Let me show you this clip posted to the White House's rapid response on X, just a short clip of Mr. President speaking without interruption for a minute last night to his daughter on an interview that I believe aired via Fox News, but was then uploaded by the White House.
Iran is in a very bad position. They have no military. All they have is good talk, and they have a fake press. You know, the fake news is probably their biggest asset. And I put something out on Truth the other day that I think was very profound. It said that we wipe out their military, we wipe out their Navy, their Air Force, their anti-aircraft, we wipe out everything, we wipe out their leadership, and then we wipe out their leadership a second time. And then at 2.5 time, we're dealing with the other half. And by the way, they're much more reasonable, and you could say that's regime change. But I said, so they would then raise the white flag of surrender. We give up to the great American military, the most powerful military. We give up, we give up, we give up. The New York Times would say, Iran has fought bravely and has defeated the United States of America. I mean, the coverage is so bad. You have a big win in a battle, and they say you lost. You knock out their entire Navy.
Pause. You set the tone, Mr. President. I need to be direct with you, Mr. President, who is so nice to my towel, Grampy. So I'm always going to have a fond place in my heart for Mr. President. But listen, Mr. President, you set the tone. You said you wanted regime change. Ayatollah Mohammad Khomeini is alive. The IRGC is more in control now than ever. Iran's still the exact theocratic democracy hybrid that it was before. It's probably more hardline and more unified than it was before. Second, you said they weren't going to have a nuclear weapon. Frankly, I'm pretty sure they never intended on doing that to begin with. And now they have. You also said you were going to take their enriched uranium. What's the point? What is the point? They have uranium naturally in the ground. They mine south of Fador on Old Combs Road. I've looked at the mines on the satellite imagery. It's a naturally occurring substance. They build their own centrifuges. You can't stop them from enriching uranium. You set an impossible goal. So what have you done? What have you accomplished? Their missile facilities are under 90 to 500 meters of hard granite. None of our bombs can touch them. The largest bunker buster bomb in the world, the Moab, with 30,000 tons of warhead, or the equivalent or so, can penetrate 15 meters into granite. What are we even doing? The only thing we've done is suffocated a bunch of Iranian missile launcher, like low-level, like soldiers. That's it. They have all of their missiles. They have missiles they haven't even fired yet. They have launch capacity. They just hit Kuwait a day ago. What have you won? What have we won? The reason the press is protecting you, Mr. President. It could, if it really wanted to, it could really show how badly we lost this war. The Iranians are kind of willing to let you save face a little too, because they're pleased they are now the fourth axis in the geopolitical world sphere. And may as well invite them to the Security Council at this point. What did you win? You didn't win anything. You cost lives. You got tricked basically by Benjamin Netanyahu, and now you've compromised American military prestige, undermined our deterrent, our strategic deterrent, and fundamentally realigned the Middle East against the West. Genius. With Iran as the guarantor of safety with its Khorram Shahars and whatever, Segil and all its other intense missiles, some of which we haven't even seen. The missile they fired at Arad that nearly destroyed an entire... Oh, goodness. I'm getting all mad. I'm yelling. I yelled so much I caused the audio to spike and caused a frame buffer. Frankly, I think this entire war started because the American public wouldn't stop talking about the Epstein files. Bibi always wanted to try to go to war with Iran. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Mr. President only agreed, I think, right now because he was cornered on the Epstein files. That stuff is so bad. We haven't seen 1/5 of the total disclosures in there. It's gonna collapse the entire American pseudo-aristocracy, the Baal-worshipping demons. They're all gonna flee the country. They don't stand a chance. There's like 500 to 1,000 of them at most. They all are just sick in the head. They're going to run. They're cowards in the face of democratic ideals and not abusing children and not being evil and not buying prostitutes and not engaging in human trafficking and making weird wafers that are communal sacraments. I read about the Aleister Crowley stuff. I'm on to these Baal-worshipping demons. They can go to Cuba, Argentina. I don't care where the Baal worshippers go. I want them out. There's no place in civilized society for anyone who ascribes to the values of ancient Canaan, or the values of Baal worshipping, or of Aleister Crowley, or all these other strange, weird Baal worshipping cults. They're all demon worshippers as far as I'm concerned, and they enable human trafficking, they compromise our judicial system, they undermine my damn republic, and then I won't stand for it. I want them out. Yeah, no, they can't go to South Africa. They have to go to, some island. Where did we send Napoleon? Where did the French send Napoleon? Can we send him there? They kind of put him on an island somewhere. That seemed to work. Oh, actually, maybe we shouldn't put them on islands now that I think about it. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with these Baal worshippers. They're a serious problem. They get into positions of judicial power, legislative power, executive power, and then they just worship Baal and hurt kids and engage in prostitution and corrupt the police and all this terrible stuff. We got to do something about that. I don't know what we're going to do with them. They really don't have a place in modern society. They got to go, I don't know where, Argentina. I don't want to bother the Argentinians, though. Argentina seems really nice. Well, I guess they did do that bad thing after the Second World War, so okay, fine. They can go to Argentina. Tiffany Bob, my opinion on that is that the Streisand effect is real, all right? And you always, when you try to suppress information, inevitably more people find out about it. And speaking generally, just because you winning on default because someone doesn't comply with discovery is good, but it's easy. Okay, that's just the other that's like someone burning their own house down and you calling 911 and being like, well, I saved the day. Well, yeah, you did, I suppose, a little bit, but not really. So winning on, just generally speaking, winning on a default because someone didn't comply with discovery is not the same as winning on the merits. And I just think, I think there is a question about who the mystery man is that is potentially responsible for John O'Keefe's death. I think there is questions about which private investigations firms in the United States take contracts to pressure criminal defendants to plead guilty before trial by infiltrating their lives under the guise of friendship or association with their family members or otherwise. And I think there's a serious question, furthermore, about whether that network is in some way attached to a drugs and brothel operation that was tied into Jeffrey Epstein's network and the intelligence community. How about them apples? And whoever's funding it, I'm going to find him. I already called the Congress. I called a lot of members of Congress. I called the state oversight authorities. I have a lot of towel friends, and I will continue to petition my government for redress of my grievances and protect those little birdies who got caught up in a multi-decade-long intelligence community honeypot operation. It's disgusting. What they did to my country is disgusting. They used restaurants hiding in plain sight as brothels. They moved drugs. They would find girls at like 14 trying to become police officers and start abusing them and then put them into the brothels. And then they would charge the girls with fake crimes if they tried to get out of the network via their corrupted state and local police operators who were involved. I'm going to find them. Hashtag I'm a towel. Whoever's funding this stuff, I'm going to find them. They're Baal-worshipping demons. They hurt the little children. They hurt the animals. I saw the video with the doggy in the Epstein files. They hurt the little birdies. They put the girls into brothels that were designed to look like restaurants. You could go to the damn restaurants and order women off the menu from the servers. I'm disgusted. I'm offended. It's a travesty. It's a sham. It's a mockery. We're going to get these people. If they haven't already shut down all their operations, I'm gonna go find them. I know where the bars were. There were multiple. There were at least 3 bars in Massachusetts, just in the East Coast, eastern part of the state alone. I told the government the names. We're gonna get them. These people took over my country. Iran was right about that. They weren't right about everything. Some of the stuff they said went a little overboard, but they were very right about the fact that this Epstein class or Khashoggi class, and Adnan Khashoggi stole my damn paintings from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in July of 1990. Don't get me all mad. But anyway, my point is, the Epstein-Khashoggi intelligence community class took this country for a ride. They siphoned our resources, the damn commies. They engaged in corporate welfare. They subverted the institutional integrity of my justice system, and I will see them held accountable. Watch what happens when Adam Deutsch wins that primary. I'm mad. Get me all mad. It all ties in together, though. This Epstein-Khashoggi network had international power. It was like a blackmail operation. It had national level power. It influenced policy. It had state level power. It had local level power. These women and victims were trapped in open air prisons. This is my country, and they trapped them, and they used the very sacrosanct systems of justice that I've dedicated my life to protecting in order to enslave those women. I'm gonna get these people, mark my words, juridically. I'm gonna petition my government until every single one of them either flees this country or is in federal prison. Hashtag I'm a towel. Hashtag towel for president.
And they say their Navy's doing fantastically. No, it was defeated, totally defeated. And they say it's just a terrible thing for our country.
Yeah, water under the fridge. Remember that time that demon came to confront me in my hallway? We think it was Baal. I do believe it's whatever they call the demon of light, whatever they call him, they worship to him. It's sick. It's disgusting. God bless you, Tiffany.
You know, to really
God
be
bless
great, you
Tiffany
need a fair
Bob.
media, and we don't have a fair media.
So yes, to reiterate, I believe the war started because the Epstein files are worse than anybody realizes. It's going to bring down the Baal-worshipping American aristocracy. And also, they were operating in my state. And they corrupted my government and my courts. And I have a problem with that. It's all interconnected. It is, though. It really makes sense for it to all be interconnected, because how do you run an intelligence community honeypot operation internationally unless you have local cops, state cops, fed cops, federal prosecutors, state prosecutors, judges, U.S. attorneys, the DOJ, politicians? You have to have everybody on your bankroll, and that's exactly what they did. And this is my country. About time we had some integrity in the political positions taken by those in charge. That's why you have to put me in the White House. Oh, get him. Anyway, I was really mad about that interview. tying it all back, because we did lose the damn war. We got humiliated. It was a travesty. It was a sham. It was a mockery. It was an embarrassment. It was a tactical defeat. It was a propaganda defeat. It was an economic defeat. It was a prestige defeat. It caused a fundamental geopolitical realignment in the Middle East. And all for what? Because the Epstein Khashoggi blackmail apparatus collapsed and some rich billionaires who abused children had to leave America and stop siphoning the resources of my damn country? Frickin' commies. Sorry. I started ranting. Yeah, I agree. It is always a distraction. If anything, the New York Times has been light on Mr. President. Now I need to get you to the hard news. Sorry. Once I start ranting about what happened to cause this war, it will send you down a rabbit hole. I know exactly. I was covering the Epstein files. I know exactly why this war was launched by the U.S. and Israel. And I frankly also am well positioned to very accurately critique the current leadership of the American position regarding who won or lost the conflict. All right, let me get you updated as to what happened over the past 24 hours. I'll catch you up on this morning. This is going to be 2 hours because it's Sunday, and I do not want to go all day, barring some kind of catastrophe. So let me take you to yesterday, starting with the shelling on the town of Ansar in Lebanon. Thank you, Walks with Fire. God bless you. This is the town of Ansar yesterday. Just so you understand, southern Lebanon is not Gaza. Southern Lebanon is a collection of villages. Sur Taer is the most ancient village, in fact, in the entire world. So after yesterday's intense shelling on southern Lebanon, Hezbollah started shelling Kiryat Shimona. Here are the videos from Kiryat Shimona last night. They might be loud. This is where it started. That is shelling by Hezbollah in the middle of Kiryat Shimona in northern Israel. I'll show you it one more time. This was last night. Thank you, Translator Tell. Yeah, some of these clips will be loud. I have to show you the footage now, and it was rough. So that was the smoke rising over Kiryat Shimona, which was not the only hit, but I will show you some of the resulting impact. By the way, there was also an American Q-9 Reaper drone shot down over Keshem Island in the Strait of Hormuz. I'll show you the footage of the drone last night in the water. This is an American drone in Keshem Island in the south of Iran, shot down last night by the IRGC. Those are expensive drones. That's an American drone shot down. Hi, Marcia! This was last night. You're looking at footage from the Strait of Hormuz last night, where an American MQ-9 Reaper drone was shot down, and then alerts, alerts, alerts. It's a drone, Mishav Gam. If Silent Dogs were here, oh no, you know that sound. Yes, there's definitely a blackout about a lot of these details, which is on the news, which is why I show you the primary sources. That's the only way to do it. You know that sound, folks. That is a drone intrusion in Mishav Gam in the north. You can see it behind my head. Oh, another one incoming. This one at Tal Halal Academic College to the north of Kiryat Shimona. Drones incoming in the north. No missiles as of now, but I will keep you updated. That's a separate drone alert. Now we have 2 alerts, one in Mishav Gam and one at Tal Hal Academic College in the north. Those sounds, of course, if you've been watching recently, you'll know that the pace of activity has not been this frequent. There's a drastic uptick in attacks in the south of Lebanon and the north of Israel. Now let me take you to the result, the impact assessment. This is Kiryat Shimona last night after that bomb missile you saw from Hezbollah explode in Kiryat Shimona in the north. This is the impact damage from that one missile from Hezbollah in Israel.
התחילה ממש פה, קרוב מאוד לפלאפל ארון, נזקים מסביב, אפשר לראות את ריחות הפיח ואבק שריפה, לא ניתן להעביר.
Drones everywhere. Just drones everywhere in the north. Drones all over the north. I repeat, drones all over the north. Just everywhere. Kiryat Shimona, Bet Hillel, Mishav Gam, Tel Hal Academic College. As you look at footage from last night in Kiryat Shimona. God bless you, Mr. and Mrs. Sweeney. Have a wonderful time at the standout for Adam Deutsch for DA today at Legacy Place in Dedham. God bless you, Mr. and Mrs. Sweeney. Thank you so much. God bless you. You are wonderful. You're looking at footage from Mishav Gam last night, overnight in Israel. You may be right. Hello, we care. And JCM, I think you are right. Barring some kind of solution to this active escalation in North Israel and South Lebanon, it could be a perpetual state of conflict. The people of Lebanon and North Israel are the ones that will suffer as a result, not the political leadership. And as you can see, Hezbollah, we're 90 days into this war that Israel is fighting against Hezbollah. Hezbollah is still striking deep into Israeli territory and causing extensive damage. That was Kiryat Shimona last night. Now, taking you to Kiryat Shimona this morning, where I can show you a clearer picture of the impact damage. This is Kiryat Shimona in Israel this morning.
מה קורה? מה המצב? אתה פה כל הלילה?
לא, אבל התקשרו אליי למשטרה. אחרי דקה ירון מוגנים. הוא פתח את החנות
This is Kiryat Shimona this morning in northern Israel.
הנה מה זה? מה היא רוצה מה זה?
תגיד לה שתביא לפה את הטרקטור.
אין הטרקטור.
דודו, זה רק פה, כל החנות בסדר.
That was Kiryat Shimona this morning in northern Israel. Now taking you to a summary of yesterday's attacks on Lebanon. You can see them here. Dabin, 3 attacks in the morning, 2 more attacks in the early morning in Dabin, shelling in the early morning on Sifra, Sarifa, then Sela, then Kirbet Selm, then Shalabia, then Kirbet Selm, then Dabin, then Kafar Duin. That was just yesterday morning. Now, I showed you the result of the shelling on Kiryat Shimona. Those 4 videos, I showed you the video from the commercial building in Kiryat Shimona that was damaged as well. Here is further impact damage last night from Kiryat Shimona. And thank you to Mr. Sweeney and Water Under the Fridge. God bless both of you for your support. Taking you now to Kiryat Shimona from last night following further shelling by Hezbollah.
גדול מאוד. הנה החבלן, בואו. אנחנו נמצאים, כמו שאתם רואים, אצל דרור מוסרי המנולן באמצע הלילה. דרור, ציפית לבוא לפה באמצע השבת?
לא, אנחנו שומרי שבת, אבל האזעקות פשוט הקפיצו אותנו כל הבית, וכמה רגעים אחר כך הבנו שזה פה נפל לידינו, אני דרך ממש פה למעלה. העוצמה הייתה אדירה, חשבתי זה בחצר, אבל זה בחצר האחורית למעשה.
כואב הלב, אתה יודע, לא נעים לראות ככה את העסק, אתה בונה ב10 תבואות שלך, אבל לפחות אנחנו פה מדברים, ואתה בריא ושלם עם כל הסיטואציה הזאת, זה מה שחשוב. כשמדברים על הפסקת אש, מדברים בדיוק על הפסקת אש בלבנון, בביירות, אנחנו פה במלחמה מתמדת. ככה נראית הפסקת אש?
זה הפסקה בלי אש,
אני באמת רוצה לשאול בפעם העשירית, בפעם המיליון, ככה נראית הפסקת אש שילדים, שתושבים באמצע הלילה נכנסים לממדים, למקלטים, עסקים, חנויות שנהרסו בתקופה של הפסקת אש, הפסקת אש שלא קיימת. התמונות האלה ממחישות את מה שאנחנו אומרים כבר מספר שבועות. אין הפסקת אש, לא בקריית שמונה ולא בצפון. הפסקת אש יש רק בביירות ובלבנון. וכדאי שמישהו ייקח על הנושא הזה אחריות. אנחנו כאן לא ברווזים במטווח, אם חס וחלילה. המטח הזה היה נורא כמה שעות קודם, ביום שישי כשהעסקים האלה פתוחים, היינו פה באסון. חשוב לומר את הדברים האלה, היינו פה באסון, ולמזלנו הרב שהמטח הזה נפל בשעת לילה מאוחרת, כשאנשים בבית והכל פה סגור.
He's saying kind of like, what ceasefire? This is a ceasefire? Interpretal is saying. And I'm like, well, I agree with Interpretal. It's not, Hezbollah is firing at 1/10 of the rate of Israel. It's documented. I can show you strike after strike after strike after strike after strike in every town in southern Lebanon. You want me to name them? I can name them. I can show you them. I can show you primary sources. Hezbollah will fire back, at least until yesterday and today, like 1 rocket, 1 drone, 5 drones sometimes, for every like 50 attacks. So I don't understand. If that man is standing up there saying that he thinks that Hezbollah is violating the ceasefire, that's outrageous. What's Hezbollah supposed to do? Watch all of South Lebanon fall while the Lebanese government says, thank you, Israel? Please go ahead and take the territory? Absurd. Absurd. Good morning, Carrot. So good to see you. How are you this morning? God bless you, Water Under the Fridge. When we have a break, will you see if Ill Bill, War is My Destiny, is on your song list? Absolutely, at least before the end of the stream. Ill Bill, War is My Destiny. God bless you, my friend, 100%. Hashtag Save the Goats. Thank you for your support of Towel Channel. We're getting close, by the way, if we do get a song break or accomplish our Super Chat goal, then yes, that will be the first thing I research. I can't guarantee it's in the database, but I will absolutely look. All right, taking you now to Iran, which unveiled its mobile air surveillance radar Kafush, which is an updated version of the Russian 39N6E Kosta 2E2 radar. It's now in service with which is in service currently, the former model with the Armenian armed forces. So this is Iran's new mobile air surveillance radar equipment, which of course they don't have because they don't have a military, you know. According to the American leadership, that Iran doesn't even exist as a country. Though that clearly is just an inflatable vehicle. That's the modern ghost army. You know, they don't have a military or an air force or a defense capabilities or anti-aircraft capabilities. Good. Hola, Francisco. Un momento, amigos. 1 minute, my friend. My friends. My friend Francisco Castillo is here, so I'm going to give him a personalized update in Spanish, if you wouldn't mind. Hola, Francisco, mi amigo. Anoche pasado, hay muchas bombas que Israel fusilarte al Lebanon en el sur, y también Hezbollah le fusilarte muchas drones y bombas al norte del Israel. También Israel está este momento los soldiers de Israel quieren ocupar un castillo, castle, no sé cómo se dice castle, es castillo, no sé, en el sur de Lebanon. Y también los soldiers del Israel quieren le fusilarte bombas al Beirut. Pero Irán no quiere una guerra hasta Hezbollah al Israel en Lebanon. Y, por supuesto, Irán va a decir a los Estados Unidos ¿qué pasa? Israel usando los bombas durante las discusiones sobre el paz y nosotros no entiendemos nosotros no podemos entender por qué Israel están usando las bombas en el sur de Lebanon. También mañana en el horas pasado tenemos bombas en el norte de Israel, muchas bombas del Hezbollah, porque Israel quieren le fusilarte muchas bombas en el sur de Lebanon. Sí. Claro que sí. Oh, thank you so much, Lavender and Rose, for that sunshine. That was so wonderful. You are wonderful. Good morning, Big Time Driver. Good morning, Cornell. Good morning, Silent Dogs. Yes, so I appreciate you all allowing me to give my Spanish update to my dear friend Francisco Castillo. I didn't use all of the words that I told you over the last 50 minutes, but I basically summarized what occurred and did my best to explain to my dear friend Francisco what's going on. Of course, my friend, por supuesto, Dios bendiga, de nada, y gracias por su atención esta mañana. Oh, flow state. Look at the flow state above my head. Oh, that was great. That was so cool. Did you know you can send things that just pop up above my head? That was so cool. Thank you so much, Big Time Driver, for that great flow state. It popped up above my head. It was just flow. I guess I was flow stating a little bit there. Hello, Silent Dogs. We were talking about you earlier. Hello, Fear 3 Norm. It's so good to see you all. I'm glad we're able to get caught up on this Sunday morning. Excuse me. You got me for at least another hour, maybe an hour and a half. It really depends. I want to spend a little bit of time. It's very cold here, like unseasonably cold. So, I just don't know what to do. My body feels like it's the middle of winter, even though it's the middle of summer. And second of all, I want to spend some time with Towel Girlfriend. So you got me for another hour. It's so good to see you all this morning, though. And as I showed you, this is the obviously non-existent Iranian air defense and radar systems. Kara, I'm so glad you enjoyed that. But yes, this is obviously the non-existent. These are clearly made of rubber or balloons, or, you know, they're a mirage. Thank you, Silent Dogs. I appreciate your insight. I will take it under consideration. Iran, for its part, has just decided not to use ships anymore, and it's sent, as I predicted, and it is sending its liquid natural gas to Pakistan and China via rail. Hello, Standing Stones. I saw your text message yesterday. I was going to let you know I was going live this morning. I forgot. It's so good to see you. Yes, Francisco, hay muchas personas aquí que entienden y pueden hablar español. folks, if you're in the chat and you speak Spanish, you can always speak Spanish with our dear friend Francisco Castillo anytime. Si tú quieren practicar tu español, yo creo que español hay un idioma muy importante por toda la gente en el mundo, y creo que más personas que pueden entender español casi la gente que habla español a este momento pueden interact. No sé la palabra. I don't know the word for interact. Con more people, con muchas personas en el mundo. Hello, Didi Tabes. It's so good to see you. I was just extolling the virtues of Spanish as a language and cross-cultural dialogue. Eventually, I'll get there with Arabic, too. That's going to be really hard. I'm starting on it. I don't know if I'm ever going to get Persian down or Farsi, but I'm going to start with Arabic. We'll see where it goes. I probably should start with French, frankly, before going to Arabic, but I don't have time to learn French and Arabic at the same time. I know a little French, you know. Parlez-vous français? Je m'appelle Grant. Une serviette, that's a towel. And then petit pois, that's like a small pea pod. So I know various French phrases. Okay, now let me take you to the next update. Here's an update from the Ukrainian military showing the Ukrainian targeting of various Russian assets. I'll show you this now. It has a very loud song, so I'm going to turn it down. This is from the Ukrainian military targeting various Russian air assets that were being used to launch these Iskander missiles at civilians in the Ukraine. You see, so Ukraine finds the planes that Russia uses to launch the bombs, and then it bombs the planes to stop them, with the missiles on the planes ready to go. I agree, Silent Dogs. Spanish is a good language for reading scripture. Latin and Spanish are kind of similar. Latin's a declination language. I don't speak it, but I read a little Latin and a little Ancient Greek. My favorite expressive language is probably Ancient Greek. German is okay, but it's too harsh. Ancient Greek and Latin are very expressive. I think I like Ancient Greek more because Aristotle, I'm very well read in Aristotle, and that tends to be in the Ancient Greek. And his concepts are just so wonderful. Like chapter 8b of the categories, the word hexis compared to praxis. Are you kidding me? An active versus passive condition of soul as embodied in terminology. I love it. I love everything about it. Alerts, missile fire, rocket fire towards Miss Afghan. Silent Dogs, that is alerts. That is rocket fire towards the north. I expect there to be probably more alerts. I don't know why they would only fire one rocket. Normally when Hezbollah starts firing its rockets, they just fire them in waves. It's been an intense morning. As I mentioned, I expected there to be lots of firing towards the north of Israel. That is that old familiar sound indeed, as the rocket fire heads towards Mishafgam. Now I muted that alert, so if there's any more sirens, that means there's even more rocket fire. Now I just showed you the Ukrainians targeting the Russian forces that were launching Iskander missiles at Ukrainian civilians. Now here's the latest footage from Nabatayth overnight. This was yesterday, came in overnight. This is Nabatayth in the south of Lebanon. Okay, I have a lot of updates to get you through. Here's Sudan shooting down a Chinese-made CH-95 combat drone operated by the UAE-backed RSF forces near Rabak, according to Clash Report. So that's a Chinese-made drone that the Sudan government shot down after it was launched by UAE-backed rebel forces. All right, so I told you there was an increased pace of attacks on southern Lebanon and on North Israel in the past day. I will show you as they escalated and how they happened. Before that, though, I'll show you a clip from southern Lebanon released yesterday by Israel. targeting Israel by Hezbollah, released yesterday, but depicting footage from May 27th of a Hezbollah attack on an Israeli army position. Let me give you the exact location. In Zaftar al-Shira in southern Lebanon. Latest from Hezbollah. Your guess is as good as mine, Standing Stones. Hi, Triply Bob, you are a towel. Latest from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon from yesterday. Standing Stone says the world doesn't run on Dunkins, it runs on corruption and blackmail. You know what? Standing Stones, you have a way with words, my friend. I'm going to remember that one. That was damn good. 10 out of 10. One of the best quotes I've heard in a while. Standing Stones, I want to give you your due plaudits, my friend. That was really good. Excellent job, folks. Standing Stones is a poet in form and with his erudite lexical precision. Just wonderful. So, as I mentioned, the situation is indeed spiraling out of control in South Lebanon and North Israel. There's alerts going off basically constantly, all the time, right now. It reminds me of the middle days of the war. Let me show you this targeting the Israeli attack on the town of Mashgiata yesterday in South Lebanon. Reminder, these videos can be very loud. Pick a handle. It's so good to see you, my friend.
نفس المبنى.
This is another Israeli attack
نفس المبنى.
on southern Lebanon yesterday, May 30th.
نفس المبنى.
Okay, I'll continue to show you the scope of the attacks. Here was more Israeli shelling yesterday, Saturday, in Kafar Rumneh, Arun al-Shakif, the Litani River Valley near Bafat Castle, which then Israel eventually conquered. So this is just more examples of what the shelling looks like in South Lebanon, just so you understand, as each attack and response happens, you understand the scope. Here's footage from Iran of a destroyed Khordad medium-range air defense system in Karamsar, western Iran. So this is pictures released yesterday. I'm not really sure how they got out of Iran, although the internet is slowly turning back on. This is images of a destroyed Iranian air defense system. Most certainly is destroyed. I think that is a very fair statement. So for my, as much as I will point out when the Iranians put out their active and working systems, you also have to point out correctly when the Americans, at least through confirmed imagery, did take out, or the Israelis, an Iranian air defense system. So you can take a look at that right there. Let's see here. Here is the result of a a Ukrainian strike on a Russian tank that completely destroyed the tank. This is a Russian soldier filming the result of a Ukrainian strike on his tank. 30 drones hit the tank. This is Russia. This is what Ukraine did to a Russian tank. Yeah, I don't think that tank works anymore.
Горит родной нахуй. Пиздец, 30 фипивишек уебало по нему нахуй.
That's what the Ukrainian president calls a long-range sanction.
Сейчас, Лех. Все, вот все, танчик осталось нахуй.
All it takes, I guess, is 30 drones to take out a tank. Who knew? I guess it takes 30 drones to take out one tank. I mean, good to know. Someone asked earlier, by the way, what the Hajj was like in Saudi Arabia this year. Let me show you a little bit of what the security is like in Mecca for the Hajj. There might be some flashing images associated with this security footage because the screen that's in the background is at a lower FPS than the camera's recording. But this is what security preparation looks like in the Hajj. You're seeing that flashing because the screen resolution is different than the number of frames per second the camera can capture. So you're actually seeing the display like flickering, even though the human eye wouldn't see that in person. Now, it's very rare to see this, but you are actually looking at how Mecca does its security in during the Hajj. So you see, I don't want to play it because I don't like the flashing lights. It's not really flashing, it's more the display flickering, but the resolution bothers me when it flashes like that. That's the black cube in the middle of Mecca. That's where the Hajj occurs. Now, do you see how this is using heat mapping? They have to avoid crushes. They have to monitor like everyone's face to make sure you have the right card to be in Mecca. You need a permit to go into Mecca during this Hajj. And then they're looking for crushes. Like, is anything like backing up? So they're using heat mapping, like the radiant heat of the bodies in the crowd, to determine if there's any blockages or backups that are dangerous to life. Because crushes are very dangerous. People die during the Hajj when the crowds kind of don't know. It's like a mass of people. And if you stop, then all the people behind you stop. And then eventually there's like more people trying to come in, then go out, and then they all like get crushed. It's very dangerous. So this is the Saudi Arabian sort of internal security apparatus showing you how they like monitor the Hajj. This is one screen of probably like 150, maybe more, that they have. I would guess more like 1,000. And so what he's showing you is they have the capacity, so they're screening them all. Like they're making sure like they get facial ID on them. And then the green check marks are like, okay, he has a permit, he has a permit, she has a permit, everybody has a permit. It's like, this is very, 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 I don't even know how somebody got this footage. This is the kind of stuff you normally would never see. Like, this is very, very, very intense internal governmental security footage. I don't know why they let this out. He's clearly doing it for the press, so it's approved from Saudi, and they don't show everything, but just showing this is shocking. I mean, yes, I am very aware that this exists. Like, I am acutely aware, but most, like, civilians, I'm a civilian, of course, but most civilians are not going to know that this exists. Most civilians are probably going to be shocked that this stuff exists because they don't know that the government uses it. If you're ever wondering why do no attacks ever happen, like on like mass gatherings, basically, it's because every government in the world has this or better. When you go into a baseball stadium and you sit down, they know everything about you based on your face. Everything. You're not getting close to that stadium if you're on the banned list, or if you're a threat to national security. You're not getting close. They'll catch you like 2 blocks from the stadium. You're not getting near a gathering of people without them knowing. It's called soft security, but they absolutely use this, and you have no right of privacy in public. Zero. None. And frankly, it does work. It's very dangerous. If you look at the show Person of Interest, I think that was predictive programming to get us ready for stuff like this. It works, but it can get into the realm of thought crime. You haven't committed a crime just because you're on a watch list and they think you're going to do something. But that's how they profile. So if you get close to a big event and they have you on facial ID as a threat, they're going to pounce. They're going to get you. You're not getting close to that event. And once you do get to the event, they're going to pat you down intensely, if they even let you in. And that's everywhere. Every single major, that's national security though, which is why I'm shocked that they're showing this. I can't control what the Saudis reveal. They have the right to declassify whatever they want. But the West isn't really ready for this conversation. Maybe the Middle East is. I know China talks about it openly, but the West is not ready. We already don't like the flock cameras just for license plate reading. Once the people of America find out how monitored everything is, they're going to need a serious explanation as to why we do it. And the reason is for security. You can be completely safe in an otherwise what's called porous security environment as long as there's active monitoring of every block approaching the arena or wherever the hell that mass gathering is. If you have facial ID on every corner, and you have like sensitive equipment that can detect the presence of radiological material or like anything that shouldn't be there, basically speaking broadly, then you can stop attacks before they happen. But you have to be careful because it does enter into the realm of thought crime because the person hasn't done anything. They might, but you're taking away their liberty and you're spying on them, frankly. But that's how they stop attacks, if you really want to know. I don't know why Saudi is putting it out so openly, but, well, once it's out, it's out. I can't do anything about that. So, but yeah, that's some of the most intense. It's not the full suite of tools. That is probably 20th of what they have. But that's what it's like. I don't know why they put it out there. It's not a good idea. You're not supposed to put that out there as a state because people are going to take advantage of that. Of course they're going to take advantage of it, but Saudi's Saudi, so. Let me show you yesterday an attack near Metula in the north of Israel. This was a drone being chased by an interceptor missile yesterday in Metula. And that's the drone hitting. It looks like the drone did hit. I don't think the missile... Yeah, the drone hit. The missile did not... The interceptor did not get that drone. Not even close. So the interceptor's firing... I mean, I don't know why it's so high. It's trying to get the drone. Or maybe a missile. And it just doesn't get it. The drone hits way before the interceptor even comes close. This is in northern Israel. This is a hit by Hezbollah with a drone. This was released by Channel 12. Now I'm going to show you the video from Kuwait. You remember how the Americans said that they intercepted the missile that hit Kuwait? And then the next day, yesterday, it came out in a report that there were Americans injured from shrapnel and an MQ-9 drone was destroyed. No, this is the footage from Kuwait. I cannot independently verify it. This is the footage, though. That missile hit. Watch, this is from the Iranian strike on Kuwait like 2 days ago. That's exactly what those Iranian missiles look like too. And I haven't seen this footage before, and I've seen most of the footage. So I can't confirm it. I don't live in Kuwait. But that missile was not intercepted. That is an Iranian missile hitting Kuwait, the American base, 2 days ago. Yeah, so, yeah. It absolutely hit the base. And let me just be clear, we never responded to this. We did. That is an Iranian hypersonic missile absolutely striking an American base. 100%. 100%. You can see the base blowing up in the background. It wasn't shrapnel. Well, maybe somebody got injured by shrapnel, but come on, why did they lie to us? I don't like it. It makes me mad. It makes me mad. It makes me so mad. It is a very intense hit. I'll show you one more time. This is the Iranian hypersonic missile strike on Kuwait 2 days ago. It's unconfirmed because I don't live in Kuwait, but I've never seen this footage before, and I don't believe this missile was intercepted. Not for a second. That's a strike. That's a direct hit. Yeah, right. Just interceptor debris or shrapnel or bomblets, yeah. Here was an interception over Safed in northern Israel yesterday. I'm going to take you through every update. Here was a summary of the attack of the alerts yesterday in Israel. 29 red alerts, 23 rocket alerts, 6 drone alerts in 2 regions, 20 unique areas with sirens. That was yesterday. Okay. Now I'll show you the interception attempts yesterday over Neratanya, which caused people to literally have to sprint off the beach, which I will also show you. So this is one of the northernmost settlements in Israel. It's a little bit north of Haifa. You're listening to interceptors firing. This was yesterday over Neratanya, north of Haifa. Now I'll show you what else happened yesterday in Haifa. I'll show you the footage from the beach. So, Neratanya. This was the northernmost settlement in Israel yesterday. Watch the rockets land. I don't know who. Somebody asked if Hezbollah was aiming for SpongeBob. I don't think they were aiming for SpongeBob. They were aiming for the water. They weren't trying to hit the people on the beach. They were trying to disrupt their ability to be on the beach because the civilians in Lebanon can't be in their homes. Those are Hezbollah rockets from yesterday hitting the beach in Neratanya. Here's more footage yesterday out of the northern settlements as Hezbollah launched rockets, I believe near Neratanya as well.
There's a sign.
She's running to a shelter. That was in Neratanya yesterday. Israel, for their part, was firing white phosphorus at the town of Arnon. So if you're wondering, what happens is the Israeli army does ridiculous things to civilians in Lebanon, and then Hezbollah fires back. And then Israel will say, how can Hezbollah do this? Well, maybe because you're firing white phosphorus over massive areas and forcing people out of their homes across all of southern Lebanon. In the UEFA Champions League yesterday, PSG and Arsenal played to a relatively boring, other than the first few minutes, 1-1 draw through 120 minutes, and PSG won on penalties, I believe 4-3, after just 2 disastrous misses from Arsenal, including on the 5th penalty where Arsenal could have extended it, the penalty kicks at least, to further rounds. Just a terrible miss by the Arsenal penalty takers, 2 of them, costing Arsenal its attempt at, or its shot at its first ever European crown. PSG, for their part, became back-to-back winners of the UEFA Champions League, at which point the city of Paris rioted. They probably would have rioted whether PSG won or lost. In any event, the game was relatively boring other than an opening goal in the 6th minute by the Arsenal striker. PSG ended up tying things up on a penalty. I think Mbappe scored it. It was a brutally awarded penalty. It was a little bit of a late challenge inside of the 10-yard box on the left of the box with the PSG striker, it wasn't Mbappe with the ball, charging into the box. There was a missed challenge by the Arsenal defender who clipped the right calf of the PSG attacker. He went down. The ref, after a VAR review, awarded the penalty. Mbappe slotted it home coolly and calmly. There was one challenge on an Arsenal player towards, I would say, the end of regular time. That was arguable about whether it was a penalty. The Arsenal attacker on the right side of the box, about 4 yards out, interlocked arms with the PSG defender. They both went to the ground, and the ref refused to award a penalty. The ref, in a hilarious moment, also penalized one of the Arsenal players who took too long to take a corner in the 46th minute. Like, there were 1 or 2 minutes of extra time at the end of the first half, and in the it was actually 6. In the 6th minute, Arsenal was taking a long time to take a corner, so to penalize them, the ref blew the end of the half before they could take their corner, which he's allowed to do. It was hilarious. Anyway, football, that style of football is very boring. Arsenal got their goal and then just fell back into a defensive shell and tried to prevent PSG from scoring. And then once PSG scored, Arsenal just played for penalties, and it was boring, and it's kind of destroying the game of football. So I don't like watching high-level European football. I find it boring. Mostly because they'll like fight for a lead and then drop into like just a defensive shell, and then there's just a lot of just very boring play. It's really destroying the game to have such like defensive minded tactics, like get a goal and then prevent the other team from scoring by parking the bus. It's like Chelsea introduced it back in like the early 2010s, and frankly it reminds me a lot of like when Fernando Torres scored that goal against Barcelona in the Champions League. You can win, can't be offsides in your own half. You can win by doing it, but it's so boring. It's such I'd prefer tiki-taka Barcelona style to this. I don't know what that's like, passing like 7,000 times in a game. This modern version of football is boring, and if the World Cup is like that final, I don't even want to watch it. Teams got to be more aggressive. Here's Nir Hanya Beach yesterday, taking you back to northern Israel. Hello, Mr. Monk's understudy. This is footage from yesterday in northern Israel.
ממש פה מולנו. איך פספסנו את זה? הנה, אתה לא רואה את הגלים, אתה מסתלבט?
I'll show you more from yesterday in northern Israel. This is Nir Hanya on the beach. Oh, we saw this one already. And you can see the rocket literally. And Hezbollah isn't shooting at SpongeBob. They're avoiding civilians, but trying to get them off the beach. Now taking you to Kafus Junction in Al Hayek, the Al Hayek restaurant building. This is South Lebanon. Just completely destroyed. And I will show you more footage. This is near the Al Najah Hospital in Nabatayeth. This was yesterday. This is South Lebanon. A hospital was struck, or at least the area near a hospital was struck yesterday. Here's more footage from northern Israel where civilians, without enough time to reach the shelter, engage in a duck and cover drill during some kind of pro-Israel march. You can see the civilians got the alert, did not have time to get to shelter. A lot of them ducked and covered. One guy was like, well, whatever happens, happens. Not to be morbid, but he chose not to duck and cover. Taking you now to footage showing white phosphorus, showing Sauf Castle. This was the castle I mentioned just north of Metula in Lebanese territory that Israel eventually raised a flag over. Here is Israel's efforts yesterday to shell that castle and take control. This is in South Lebanon. Okay. There was jet activity over Iran yesterday. That's become pretty normal. There's new footage that actually has surfaced from Khorramabad, Iran. This was from, I believe, March during the U.S.-Iran war. This is not from yesterday. This is scenes from Iran, aired for the first time yesterday because the internet's slowly coming back on in Iran, of an American strike on Khorramabad in Iran. This was from March of 2026. This is in Iran, but did not come out till yesterday. This was American carpet bombing of Khorramabad, Iran, during the war. That's what it's like to get bombed by American planes. It is heartbreaking, Lavender and Rose. Now I'll take you to the Gaza Strip, where this was scenes of an Israeli plane bombing in the middle of the Gaza Strip. You can see, although it doesn't show any actual bodies, you can see the wounded being evacuated. This is the Gaza Strip yesterday. Okay? This is what the Gaza Strip was experiencing yesterday. Some ceasefire in Gaza. Hello, Wayne Allen, and so good to see you. As I mentioned, the citizens of Paris were absolutely rioting yesterday. There were hundreds of arrests in Paris as a result of rioting during and after the Champions League final between PSG and Arsenal. In South Lebanon, as I mentioned, I showed you a picture. Here is the video confirmation of Israel using white phosphorus. This was yesterday. Those are white phosphorus shells. They look like an octopus. They're not regular bombs. They're incendiary munitions. They're very dangerous. Hello, Adam. It's good to see you. Well, I don't know who's in more of a war at this point. I don't know who's in more of a religious war. The Islamic resistance axis or Israel. But they're both in a war. There's no question about that. Taking you now to the Carmel area in the Galilee yesterday, where more Hezbollah rockets fell. I don't exactly see where the rocket fell. Oh, right there. Oh, he's showing the damage. It wasn't an active rocket fall. This was that same scene, Carmel, yesterday. The attempts to intercept that rocket that fell, apparently. This is Carmel in Israel yesterday, the north. Hello, Real Jack Matt. This is northern Israel yesterday, Carmel. I agree, Translator Tell. The white phosphorus are terrible. This is sounds from Carmel in the north yesterday. That was yesterday in the north of Israel, Carmel. Same area. Substantial amount of interceptions. yesterday in the north, and that was not even today. This was yesterday in the north. Today was more intense. Hello, Talmon Bunny. Hi, Kofi. Hi, Bo. Right, Amatowel, happy Sunday, and God bless you all. God bless you, Kofi. Hi, Kofi. Yes, Kofi's a dog. Kofi's a dog. I feel like it must baffle the dog, because sometimes the TV just will start talking to Kofi, and he must be like, why is the TV talking to me? Oh, that's right. I know the man on the TV. Hi, Carrot. So good to see you. Water under the fridge, as always. God bless you, my friend. Israeli troops, for their part, have started crossing the Litani River, as I mentioned. I'll show you footage of that in a second. Here's more footage of Hezbollah rockets launching towards Israel yesterday. This was the north yesterday, the north of Israel. Now I'll take you to more footage from yesterday in the north, where the Israeli army was surprised by the initial scale of Hezbollah's response to the Israeli expansion of its attacks and attempts to conquer territory in southern Lebanon across 55 villages, 52 of which are Sunni Muslim, 3 of which are Catholic Maronite. Let's take a look now at some more footage of Hezbollah's initial response, which only got more intense throughout yesterday, Saturday, and today, Sunday. By the way, good morning for those of you tuning in. Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Grant Smith Ellis. It's just past 9:17 a.m. Eastern Time here in Boston. It is 3:17 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, May 31st, 2026, in South Africa. Not 3 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. South African time, 3:17 p.m. It's 4:17 p.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's 4:47 p.m. in Tehran, Iran. Thank you for tuning into Towel News. And let's take a look more now at video from the northern settlements of Israel yesterday, following the initial uptick in Hezbollah's attacks, which only continued throughout Sunday. So that was Hezbollah's attacks on the north yesterday. Now I'll show you further footage from Hezbollah striking in the north of Israel.
هذه المستوطنات الإسرائيلية في شمال فلسطين لن تكون آمنة ولو دخل الإسرائيلي إلى أي مساحة من لبنان.
What is the message? The dead is the message, apparently, is what that says. I only interpret it and try to show you what each side is saying. That was very ominous from Hezbollah. Michael Rondon lets us know it's 8:18 a.m. in the great state of Minnesota. God bless the people of Minnesota. Great to see you. Good morning, my dear friend. There was a very large explosion yesterday after a small meteorite broke up in the atmosphere near the eastern seaboard of the United States, right near my town of Boston. I actually felt right around 2 p.m. Eastern time the shockwave shake the foundations of my house. Caused a big panic. Millions of people from New Hampshire through to Connecticut felt the large explosion. My house kind of rattled for about a second. I thought a tree fell down. I was on the phone with Towel Girlfriend. We were watching a movie of some kind. Might have been watching the Champions League final. I don't remember. But I just remember saying, I think a tree fell down. I should go look. I go look outside. A tree branch had fell. And I thought to myself, that's a pretty big tree branch, like 15 feet. But I don't know if it would have caused that. And I just kind of set it aside. Then a bunch of people heard the explosion. It turns out a meteorite was exploded, entering the atmosphere, causing a sonic boom. About, I'd say, it was near Cape Cod Bay when it started exploding, and then I think it actually disintegrated kind of to the northeast of Boston over the water. It was kind of cloudy. No one got footage of it, but there's multiple videos of the sound, which I will show you. It was loud, folks. If you are in the Massachusetts area from Boston to points north to points south, Cape Cod, Plymouth, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, you probably felt this. You can see here up on the screen, you can actually see the comet, the meteorite, as it exploded. I guess it is an explosion. It's like disintegrating, but it penetrates the sound barrier and then it explodes. You can see it on the NASA maps. This morning you could see the explosion actually in real time kind of populate on the NASA maps. NASA is the official authority, by the way, on these types of explosions. Stanley Fung recorded on his dash cam, actually, the sounds of the explosions heard across the northeast of the United States yesterday, causing a bit of a panic, rightfully so. You don't normally just hear like house-shaking explosions in Massachusetts, but let's take a listen to what the people who were outside, I only felt it, I didn't hear it, but let's listen to what it sounded like outside yesterday in my neck of the woods, Massachusetts. Pretty wild indeed. So you didn't just feel it, folks. There was an actual explosion. I'll play you another clip now. This one, Nick Soder posted it. I don't know the original source. That was Massachusetts. This was Massachusetts. That was very loud. It caused a bit of a panic, but NASA and the various agencies that oversee meteorites, which we didn't get an early warning, by the way, so it really shocked people. Like, if that didn't disintegrate, if it was larger, that would have just hit. It would have been over. It would have just caused a tidal wave off the eastern seaboard, right near Boston. If that thing was bigger, it was only like 3 meters or 3 feet. It was small. Meteorites, they get big. It's called a meteor if it doesn't hit the Earth, and a meteorite if it hits the Earth, I think. I'm not a towel, though. I'm not a professor of meteors. I am a towel. Let me rephrase. But the point is, these things can be very big, as you know from various movies, or if you've studied this. These meteors or comets, whatever you want to call, based on what it does, if it has a trail, if it's just like a space object, like a piece of like heavy space object, it's basically like a bunch of like space metals like that are clumped together. And it's dangerous, obviously, for a number of reasons. We don't normally hear or like feel the effects of these things because what they're actually doing is when they enter our atmosphere, think of the Earth's atmosphere like a very, very thick layer of water. Okay, that's the best way to think about it. And when objects enter that layer of water, they experience a large amount of friction. We're talking like 10 meters of water, 30 feet. They experience an intense level of friction. Now, remember what an object that is entering the Earth is doing. It's not like a missile. It doesn't go straight down. It's entering orbit. And then because of gravity, it's orbiting like on a trajectory that will eventually bring it in contact with the Earth. Does that make sense? Okay, so think about how much friction and how much burn-off an object has to go through to get to the lower levels of the atmosphere while circling in orbit through like 10 meters of water. That's basically like what you have to think about. By the time it even gets to the point where you could see it or hear it explode, it's that's a miracle. That object was very big. By a miracle by the standard, it's a miracle it didn't hit the earth. Because to get to the point where you actually hear a sonic boom or see it, that object got through like 17 laps, I'm just guessing, a lot of laps of the atmosphere, and it got close enough to enter the lower atmosphere and make a sonic boom and then explode. If that thing was bigger, we're talking, I don't know how big it was when it entered the atmosphere, ask NASA, I'm not a scientist, but if that thing was bigger and it got close to low or Earth atmosphere at like the size of a car, or God forbid a house or a football field, and that thing hits, we didn't have any notice this was coming. It just appeared and then exploded. It could have been bigger, thank God it wasn't. And if it hits water, you think you're safe? No, you're not safe. It's going to generate a tidal wave that's going to like sink half the state, depending on the size of this object. If it hits land, you're done. It's over. You're not. It's like, imagine the Tuskegee event or whatever it's called, but worse, in like a civilian area. It would just be over. That was horrible. I don't know if people realize how close of a call that was. It's not the worst. It didn't hit. But yeah, those things can strike the earth, and we had no notice whatsoever. It was actually kind of petrifying when I was thinking about it after the fact. I didn't get scared in the moment. I did feel my house shake, and I was thrown off. But after, when I was reflecting on how if that thing had just hit the earth close enough to me, I wouldn't have been reacting to it. I would have not been here anymore. So, yeah, thank God that thing did not hit the earth. Little frame buffer, sorry. I yelled a little too loud. All right, Standing Stones, you have a wonderful time. But yes, thank God. I'm definitely thanking God today that everyone is all right. It was definitely unsettling, though. Anyone from the northeast of the United States will tell you that they probably were a little bit unsettled yesterday when that happened. First of all, because normally you don't just feel like a shock wave like penetrate your house without a reason. So a lot of people were just calling the authorities trying to report this, which had the fire departments rushing around trying to figure out why this happened. There was no actual cause on the ground. So it was just very odd. It was just very unsettling. The Tunkskuga event. Yeah, that was a smaller one too, and it still destroyed like a substantial amount of forest. All right. Let me take you more now to yesterday in the north where Hezbollah was launching rockets. As I mentioned, this is footage from Lebanon of Hezbollah launching rockets towards Israel. I can't tell if she's excited or worried. I don't speak Arabic. Siberia, yes, correct, Silent. So this is from Lebanon, and it's footage of Hezbollah's rockets last night going towards North Israel. I don't really know what she's saying. I think she's saying, look, 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 we're back. That was a slight frame drop. Hello, we're back. I'm a towel. Hello, that was a frame drop. We're back. Oh, God bless you, Kara. Thank you so much for your support. I saw you ask earlier if you missed anything. I think I'm getting you fully caught up, but if you have any outstanding questions, you just let me know. God bless you, Kara, and thank you so much. Alerts! Oh, goodness. Drone alerts in the north. God bless you, Kara. God bless you all. Thank you for supporting Towel Channel. We have one drone. It appears to be south of Zarit. Silent Dogs. Silent Dogs is going to be on alert. We have an alert for a drone in the north. It is not a rocket. It is a drone. Taking you to South Lebanon yesterday. Please be aware this could be a very, very loud video. I did not screen it for sound, but it is going to be an explosion in a civilian store following an Israeli strike in South Lebanon. Yeah, I would say that was loud. That was an airstrike. This was 8 p.m. Have you ever watched an airstrike so loud that it literally causes the stream to... Oh, we're back and there's more alerts. Have you ever heard an airstrike so loud it spikes the frames and causes the stream to buffer? We're back. I'm going to play this one more time. apropos, as more alerts are playing, let me see what this is. Oh, drones across the north, a drone in Zarit and to the south. I told you the pace of activity had gone up exponentially. Those are drone alerts in the north of Israel. Now that video was so loud it literally spiked the audio of the stream and caused it to buffer, but I'm going to play it for you again. Chris C, it actually is doing okay. I have pretty good satellite signal, but sometimes when it's a very loud video, it'll actually spike the audio of the stream going out in the RTMP client and just cause it to frame drop. But here we go. Let's watch it one more time. That was quite an intense video. No question about it. I showed you the explosions in Boston yesterday from the meteor. Now let me show you the warning issued to the residents of southern Lebanon, south of the Zerahani River, which is actually more north than the Litani River. Let's take a listen to the warning from the IDF issued 7 hours ago to the residents of South Lebanon.
عاجل السكان جنوب لبنان انتبهوا إليه في الضوء قيام حزب الله الإرهابي بخرق اتفاق وقف إطلاق نار واستهدافه للجبهة الداخلية الإسرائيلية يضطر جيش دفاع للعمل ضده بقوة لا سيما في مناطق قم. جيش دفاع لا ينوي المساس بكم فحرصا على سلامتكم نتوجه إلى جميع السكان المتواجدين جنوب نهر الزهراني وفق ما يعرض على الخارطة عليكم إخلاء منازلكم فورا. كل من يتواجد بالقرب من عناصر حزب الله أو منشآته أو وسائل القتالية يعرض حياته للخطر. كل مبنى يستخدم من قبل حزب الله لأغراض عسكرية قد يصبح عرضة للاستهداف. فيا سكان جنوب لبنان عليكم الانتقال فورا إلى شمال نهر زهراني. انتبهوا أي تحرك جنوبا قد يعرض حياتكم للخطر.
He's ordering all the people south of that line to go north. He's saying if you live south of that river, the north one, not the Litani here, not this one, the Zerahani, go north. He's saying evacuate. He says he's basically saying it's unsafe to be in all of this territory. That's absurd. That's forced displacement. You're like, imagine if Hezbollah said that to the civilians of North Israel. Here's 5 hours ago, Marrakech, in South Lebanon. This was this morning. We're now into today. And today has been a long day. This is South Lebanon today. This is South Lebanon today. Okay, here's Sur. Today, Sur has been hit very hard this morning than I've seen during the ceasefire. This is Sur, the oldest continuously inhabited city on earth. In English, it's Tyre. This is Sur in South Lebanon on the coast. It's a little north of Nakura and Nabatayeth. Here's footage today from Gaza. Earlier today, this was Israeli bombing in the Gaza Strip, where there's also supposed to be a ceasefire that Israel is ignoring. Oh my word. Oh my. Those people almost got hit by that strike. Oh my. That is the reality of life on the ground in Palestine, in Gaza, right now. That was earlier today. Oh my, he is lucky to be alive. Oh, wow, that is terrifying. Look at that. Oh, why would you do that? Why would you just bomb while there's civilians like 1 block away? Are you even paying attention to this? Who dropped? Why would you bomb like that? Oh my, I'm very uncomfortable with that. Look at the shrapnel. Oh my goodness. Do they just not care at all? I've heard that the Israeli army will allow civilian casualties during its strikes depending on the value of the target they're striking. But come on. Where are those people supposed to hide? They don't have shelters. They hide behind like a little piece of cloth that is not going to stop any metal. I'm not really sure why he's hiding behind a piece of tarp. I guess that would stop like certain objects, but this is just, that is Gaza this morning. Taking you now to Oman, just a few hours ago. Here's a Maham. Remember how Mr. President said Iran didn't mine the strait, of course? Well, that seems to be a Maham 3 naval mine, as Iran screenshot reports it. That's just the naval mine sunbathing off the coast, you know? It's not a dangerous mine, as Silent Dogs would say. It's a mine. It's just a sunbathing mine. Yes, obviously. No, that's not an animal. That is one. No, naval mines are very dangerous. You might have heard a lot of talk about these naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, there's one of them. It's just kind of floating along. I don't think it really meant to go over there all the way to the coast of Oman, but, you know, I don't think that person should be that close to that thing. You probably, I hope he's on shore and not in a boat. If you're on a boat and near that thing, you should go very far away from that. That's very dangerous. If you see one of those, I mean, I'm not a captain of a boat, but if I saw one of those and I was driving a boat, I would go really far away. I would not go up to it and take a picture. If I were in a canoe, I would go very far away. I would not go up to it and take a picture. If I were in a kayak, I would go even farther away. In fact, I would not be within probably like an 100-foot radius of that specific thing, because that's a very, you know, maybe you might say there are nice mines. I don't think that's really possible, but that's a very angry mine. That's gonna do a lot of damage. Hello, Loki. Yes. Yeah, that's a very angry mine. You don't want to touch that mine. That mine's going to hurt you. It's meant to destroy the hull of a ship. It's going to hurt you and everything around it. I strongly advise, if for whatever reason you find yourself off the coast of Oman in some kind of boat, just stay very far away from that. Don't go near those things. It's not a nice mine. It's not an animal. It's not friendly. Don't try to catch it. Run away. This is not some kind of contest. I don't even approve of this person taking this picture. That's crazy. I don't understand how they got so close. Run away from that thing immediately. What are you doing? Oh my. That thing can... First of all, a human body stands no chance. That thing's meant to rip metal apart. Get away from that. That's my only advice. If you see that, oh my word, he was literally in a boat. What are you doing? Oh, sir, you don't need to prove it. I understand that is a mine. I get it. It's not a jellyfish. It's a mine. Oh, goodness. Run away from that, sir. Move your... Oh, it's floating towards him. Why are you just standing there? Run. Why are you not running? It's floating right at him. Oh, this man is out of his mind. What is he doing? This is this morning off the coast of Oman. Sir, you need to not... Sir, take your boat. Maybe he can't. Maybe he's in the doldrums. I don't know how the winds off the coast of Oman work. Good morning, Loki. It's good to see you. I have serious concerns. I mean, he lived, obviously, but that mine is floating right at that man, and he is far too casual about it. Chris is going to be canceling his fishing trip to Oman. I think that's probably for the best. Why is this man just Okay, all right. I didn't understand that the mine was literally floating towards him. He's clearly on a boat. And he's just like, well, you know, we should probably get away from the... Yeah, you really should. It's going to hit you, sir. Paddle. Put your motor in the water. Just run. Oh. No. So, from what I understand, Silent Dogs, I don't think he put it in the water. I think the mine... So, a lot of these mines aren't anchored. They're meant to just free float. Oman is, you know where it is. It's right off the Strait of Hormuz. I think the current just grabbed the damn thing and took it into Omani territorial water. And this dude is an Omani fisherman, just like standing there like, oh, what's that? Oh. And he's just very casual about it. Silent Dogs. No, Silent Dog's like, Oman isn't even real. The Sultan, that's just a figment of people's imagination. I want to bring Silent Dogs to meet the Sultan. What would you say if we talked to the Sultan? Would you tell the Sultan his country was fake? Silent Dogs, actually, some of them do free float. So I don't have the chart right now, but I analyzed the 11 different types of sea mines on a previous stream. coverage of the war. And yes, there is a type of mine that free floats. It's horrifying, but it does. No, Silent Dogs, you're absolutely right. There are types of mines that are moored to the seabed. And then there's actually a type of mine you can moor to the seabed that fires some kind of torpedo out of it. But there are also like mines that float on the surface, mines that float right under the surface, and not all of them are anchored to the seabed. Yeah, well, you might be right, Silent Dogs. I'm not an expert in like what type of mine is attached to the seabed versus what floats. But yeah, that mine looks like it's free floating. Maybe it broke off its chain. I'm not sure. Oh, flow state. I love it, Kara. Thank you so much for those jewels. Look, there's a flow state just bouncing above my head. You can actually make things just appear. There's a golden goat, apparently. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. God bless you, Kara. Thank you so much for that flow state. I love that it bounced above my head. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I think we're, I can't exactly say we're in a state of peace, OG. I think your analysis is erudite and indeed on the ball. Kara, they're so wonderful. This new feature that YouTube has, which I absolutely adore. The team that worked on it must have spent a lot of time on it because it popped up and I love it. You can make, now YouTube approves which ones you can do, but you can make things dance above my head in the chat. It's so cool. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Let me take you now to Russia, where Ukraine this morning struck the Lazarevo pipeline. I'm going to show you footage from Russia now, where Ukraine has continued to sanction President Putin. Standing Stone. So I actually don't know how to do it. It's like a Jules feature. I think it's in all regions now, but we might have to ask Kara for help. I'm not actually sure of how it works. Hi, Shannon. God bless you, my dear friend. Good to see you this Sunday. This is Russia this morning. So it's about 5 hours ago. It was daytime a long time ago in Russia. That is their pipeline, one of their oil export pipelines. Remember, Ukraine, for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, started this attempt to shut down Russia's ability to use its dark fleet of ships to sell oil and evade sanctions by the West. And Russia, in response, started using ballistic missiles to bomb civilians in Kiev. So the Ukrainian president, Vladimir Zelensky, imposed some long-range sanctions today. And that is the result of those long-range sanctions. There was also an ammo-carrying cargo ship hit by the Ukrainian military at the Berdyansk port overnight. It struck the bridge directly, according to Khyber Borshono, and the operation was a joint SBU and 4th 12th Ukrainian Army Brigade Nemesis mission. So you can see the bridge right there that was hit by the Ukrainians to take out a Russian cargo supply ship overnight. I agree, Silent Dogs. Hashtags pipelines are fake and also run by demons. Now, the Israeli army, for their part, you're going to see them in this video crossing the Litani. But what they actually did, I'm going to show you it on the map in the background here. What they actually did is they just went from right here. The river is kind of like, when you get to this area of Lebanon, the river kind of curves. So they just kind of went like a few kilometers north of Metula and then went over the river and filmed it. This is the Israeli army crossing the Litani yesterday and bragging about it. Some of the footage is censored by the IDF and cleared for publication, so the actual operational defenses of the tank are censored by the military, but that's the tank crossing the Litani. Probably right around here behind my head. That area. And you can see this is IDF footage because they film it with drones. That's the same tank. That's the IDF crossing the Litani. Taking you now to more from Ukraine, where Ukraine's 475th Regiment, code 9.2, destroyed Russian Buk and Tor air defense systems, a Pion artillery system, a Teruk radar, and dozens of logistical targets in Dovabush and in 70 Dovabush T-20 and Darts drone sorties. The drones now reach up to 150 kilometers from the front line. This was released by the Ukrainian military this morning. A clapping seal. That was great, Loki. Oh, that was wonderful. God bless you for that clapping seal. Hello, Kanapi. We are getting updated on the situation in southern Lebanon and Ukraine. Pyramid 7, I didn't think of that. Maybe he was just depressed and didn't care. That's a good analysis, my dear friend. I agree, that actually might be possible. I agree, interpret towel. Those drones don't mess around. Ukraine is more accurate than Hezbollah. Hezbollah releases a lot of these too, but Ukraine fires more drones than Hezbollah. I didn't even think that was possible. That's a lot of drones. Each of these is a different drone that Ukraine is launching in Russia. Ukraine, I've tried to tell people, Ukraine has good drone technology production. That's why the Middle East only spends money. So the Middle East only spends money when they know that the tech is good. And I tried to tell people, Ukraine has very good drone infrastructure. Drone infrastructure does not mean housewives in, like, kitchens assembling the drones. That's just the final part of, like, the assembly line. You need, like, good FPV tech. You need, like, good wire on the drone, fiber optic wire. You need good real-time camera footage so the drone operator wearing the headset or however they're doing it can aim at their target. You need good, like, drones need to be able to, like, go forward and up, okay? They need to be able to propel. They need to have a low heat signature so they can't get intercepted. They need to have missiles ideally mounted on them so their payload capacity has to be high. So all these things come together. When I talk about a drone production apparatus, it's not just the video capabilities of the drone. It's not just the operator's ability to identify targets. It's not just the stability of the aircraft. It's not just its propulsion mechanism. It's not just its payload capacity. It's all of the things and the amount of them that they're firing. What Ukraine does is they use drones kind of like to push Russia back along the fronts. They have so many drones, they just launch them across like 30 kilometers and just the whole front, the whole war front, they just carpet bomb with drones. It's an evolution in warfare. It's why they got their contracts from the Saudis and the Qataris and the Bahrainis and the Kuwaitis. Ukraine, they do need immediate help with certain missile interceptor technology, which they'll probably get from the West. But Ukraine has so much money in the pipeline now that they don't even have to answer to the ridiculous Russian stooges that have infiltrated the American domestic political apparatus with these nonsensical sort of arguments about where the money's going. Ukraine has produced so many drones with the influx of Middle Eastern money that Russian propaganda effort has completely failed. Mind you, the Russians are the masters of propaganda. The SVR and the KGB are the people who invented attempting to sow discord internally within the Western states, in particular America. Their propaganda effort around Ukraine failed so hard, and their military apparatus failed so hard, that the Ukrainian president had to give President Putin permission to have his military parade this year, 5 years into the conflict. Let's see. Cheetah Torres asks, what's your most interested in the war, you think, between the war that is going on? What's your... so, Cheetah, let me try to understand. If you need to re-ask, that's okay. What am I most interested in? I don't know if I'm interested in any components of this. I find it very unsettling. I think what I'd like to understand is the various geopolitical realignments that are going on. So I see all the conflicts as interrelated manifestations of a fundamental historical shift that is a byproduct of the Hegelian historical dialectic getting superseded for the past 27 years by a subversive form of Western neocolonialism that was really just the intelligence apparatus abusing children in the name of Western democracy. I see it kind of the historical dialectic moving forward with the cultural antithesis embodied not by the BRICS so much as sort of a multipolar international sort of order. And I see that coming to fruition by virtue of the humiliation of the various militaries that had been posturing for the past 27 years under the auspices of a security blanket in order to maintain their artificial hegemony over the historical order. What the byproduct of a natural synthesis is going to be in those conditions is probably what I'm most interested in. I see a fundamental realignment, as I mentioned, occurring with geopolitical reorientation around 4 strategic axes of power: North America, the BRICS, Russia. It's tough to tell if Russia and China are going to stay aligned, but the Iranian axis and then the Gulf. So I think America will impose a new Monroe Doctrine on Latin America. That's why you're seeing a lot of posturing, Venezuela, Cuba. And then America's sphere of influence will go south into Latin America, Central America, and then so Mexico, Guatemala, Ecuador, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, in the middle of my fascinating explication of where things are going. So back to my fascinating explication as I was talking about. I see the Western sphere of influence through America sort of going south through Latin America. I was naming a bunch of countries. We could talk about internally and domestically how that's going to work and whatnot, but that's my theory, whether it's soft influence or formal coups or military power. And then in Europe, I think you'll kind of see a European realignment towards the Gulf, with the Gulf as a security guarantor and like a monetary backer for the European project. They're way more sympathetic towards each other, I think, than Europe is towards America, because America is more focused on like the Monroe Doctrine in Latin America, a modern Monroe Doctrine. That's my opinion. You can get a lot of resources there, and America's a resource-hungry country that's been exploited for a long time by various interests that were trying to extricate its domestic national production for their own interests. So we have to kind of make up for that. We have a very big national debt. We have a lot of work to do, and it comes through resource theft, unfortunately. But what do you want me to do? I didn't bankrupt the country, so I can't really apologize. It has to be fixed. And then it comes through colonial expansionism. I'm sorry, it's a realpolitik question. What do you want to impose an austerity budget domestically in the United States? You want to see people canceling their July 4th celebrations because they don't have money to fund their police departments? Sorry, I can't allow that to happen. But in the Middle East, I think you'll see a European and Gulf realignment because they're very hostile to Russia and really the BRICS, frankly. I really see the BRICS being hostile to Europe and the Gulf. And then I see America being its own axis. And then I could actually see Russia being its own independent axis, independent of Chinese power. I could see them having some sort of butting of heads. But I really don't see a major conflict. I'm a little bit concerned that we might see a major conflict beyond what we saw recently to get us there, because unfortunately that's just what happens. This economy right now is completely artificial. If you look at a lot of the debt, it's very bad debt, and it's getting packaged just like with the credit default swaps in 2008. A lot of this bad debt's getting repackaged with good debt and then consolidated and then sold as good debt, when in reality a lot of it's junk. especially like the American mortgages right now. You got to look at the foreclosure rate. It's normally like a indicator of when there's going to be a systemic collapse, because the way the economy works is like people have to pay their debt. We're a very debt heavy economy. So if you ever see like an uptick in foreclosures, like what happened in like Cleveland, like Ohio in 2007, or Detroit, if you ever see an uptick in foreclosures, like a collapse in the commercial real estate market, like you're inevitably heading towards the bubble popping, because the actual market economy can only sustain itself at high levels with perpetual debt repayment, because a lot of the economy is just companies investing in other companies and leveraging massive consumer debt portfolios in order to do so. A credit default swap is like a modern margin loan. It's where like you take a bunch of debt, like either like triple F product or triple A product, and you go to Moody's or some other investment agency and you package it together and get a triple A rating on it and sell it as like a mortgage-backed security or a debt-backed security. It's very complicated, but it causes market devastation, because eventually you get to the point where a deposit bank and an investment bank are operating under the same roof. What's a good example of this? I want to say JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank or something. Like one of them's an investment bank, one of them's a deposit bank, and they own each other, or one owns the other. You get an incentive basically to bet against your own deposit holders, and in essence bet that the market's going to pop, and then you call in the debt in a way that no one can pay, and by doing so the market collapses, you make a lot of money, and then there's economic devastation. And you pass off, like you privatize the gains and socialize the losses, and you pass off the collapse in the economy onto the taxpayer. And most of the time that cycle leads to a wartime economy to boost economic production domestically. So I'm a little worried we're heading there. This market can't sustain. It's completely fake. It's an artificial bubble that's worse than 2008, backed on junk debt. A lot of this debt is ridiculous. It's completely false. People aren't paying, and they're unable to pay. They're never going to pay. Not just the student loan bubble, but the housing market in particular. We let these freaking credit default swaps come back. They're mortgage-backed like securities, basically. You like bet whether or not the mortgage payment is going to go through, and then you can short the mortgage market by watching it and determining when foreclosures go up, and then basically betting that the market's going to collapse. The Big Short, aka. But it's just a repackaged version of it, because Dodd-Frank didn't fix it, and all we did was give money to the very people who decimated the domestic market economy in 2008. And then we were like, oh, well, don't do it again. Well, they did it again. It's actually the fault of the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act of 1999, which also goes by the Economic Modernization Act of 1999. They allowed investment and deposit banks to operate under the same roof, and by doing so, basically reinstituted the economic cycle that had been occurring perpetually up until Glass-Steagall was implemented in 1933, where there's like an incentive to create a bubble can, like through margin loans or otherwise, some creative investment instrument and fractional reserve lending, and then you have the control over when the bubble pops. You bet against the bubble popping by shorting the market. You call in all your loans. Chaos happens economically. You try to do it in a frame drop. We're back. A little bit of a frame drop there. But yeah, that's my analysis, and you can look at the historical sort of so I'm back. Hello. You can look at the historical analysis of the economic charts, and you will see what I'm talking about. It's always the same cycle. We're in it right now. Hopefully the war that occurred over the past 90 days is the end of the sort of that, but I'm worried. I need to be very direct with you that frankly there hasn't been an economic collapse yet because of this artificial manipulation of the markets through all this debt-backed security lending. And as a result, when the market crashes, it's going to be horrifying. It's going to be really, really bad. We're really lucky it hasn't happened yet. It probably only hasn't happened because of the strategic deployment of 400 million barrels of tactical oil reserves, like in the middle of the war. But there's only like 1.2 billion of those barrels available, and we probably only have like maybe 500 billion barrels left. If the economy runs out of control and collapses, all bets are off. Then there's definitely going to be further conflict, because it's the only way. It's terrible, but it's the only way to buttress the domestic economy. You could see unemployment levels that are catastrophic. You could see foreclosure levels that are catastrophic. It becomes a serious problem, and then the value of the dollar gets impacted. And we have this international sort of monetary system that's very dependent on countries trading for oil and dollars. And if the dollar isn't strong enough, or there's not enough confidence in the United States, then they can just buy oil in other currencies like the yuan, or sell it in the Iranian real, or whatever the currency is. They can just do it that way, and that would collapse the United States. So it's very precarious. Like, there are consequences to having like a leadership crisis, and we're facing one unlike anything I think we've ever seen before in the United States right now. It's very dangerous. Our military prestige has just been hammered. Our political prestige is hammered. We're viewed as kind of like isolationist, but also expansionist, and also irrelevant, and also relevant, and also powerful, but also vacuous. And that doesn't allow you to actually lead. It's a very bad situation. We have no... like right now, the state of the White House, if you look outside, it's like this like UFC event being built in like a half demolished ballroom. There should be goats in there. But the point is, it's a very good microcosm for our country. We have no strategic vision. We couldn't even put together a 250th celebration. It's an embarrassment. Like, this country has fallen to levels that I didn't even think were possible. People just walk around just kind of alienated and like just very in their own world. There's no communal celebration. There's no real like pride to live here. It's just kind of like, well, this sucks. And that's not good. All right. There was a time like in 1976 where the 200-year anniversary, everything was donned in American flags. People had a real sense of sort of shared like pride for the country. Now it's just all very sad here. And it really reflects, unfortunately, the decline of a great empire. Not just a great empire, a great experiment in representative democracy. Personally, I don't want to see it fall. I would like to fix it. But we have to have a complete revitalization of our domestic discourse if we're going to see that happening. And we also need to believe in the American project. And we got to get rid of the damn commies. The liberals are useless. Some liberals talk okay policy, but on the whole, they just dress up in frog costumes and just are irrelevant. And they cause more problems than they fix. Sorry, it's like an HR department. Liberals and HR departments go hand in hand. They both suck. There will never... I might have like a compliance department, but I'm never having an HR department in my operations. No, bro, no. No. Humans are not resources. Humans are just part of the collaborative process. Alerts! Damn it! Damn it! Oh no, this is an early warning. Oh goodness. Missile launches, so they do early warnings now. We have an early warning alert. There are missiles that are going to launch within the next 60 seconds. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. It's all across the north. It's Matsuva, it's Manat, it's Yorar, it's Elan, it's Goran, it's Herftesh, it's Malat Tashiva, it's Zarit, it's Shatula. It could be near Hanya. Expect missiles in like 30 seconds, 25 seconds. Oh goodness, we got there's a missile alert. Jules thing. Oh goodness, Silent Dogs is going to lose his mind. Oh, here they come. I told you, give it like 10 seconds. There they are. Oh, they're everywhere. Oh, it's a massive attack. Oh, Hezbollah has just launched a massive missile attack. They're everywhere. Look at them. They're all over the north. It's basically from the east of Neratanya all the way to the west of Medan. They're just covered. Thank you very much, Loki. God bless you for that. That was a very well-timed emoji. But yes, this is bad. That's a lot of rockets. Those are not drones. That was an early alert. And then, so there's this new early alert system for northern Israel. You get 60 seconds. That's like 20 alerts all at once. There's a lot of missiles coming across the border right now. You're watching them in real time. Oh, Silent Dogs is all over it. Whenever you hear that alert on the actual stream, that's an early alert. The phone does the actual beepings. If I had the actual stream beeping as many times as it beeps, you all would lose your mind. It would go for like 30 minutes. But what you heard, when you heard that beep come over the actual stream before every other beep, that's the early alert warning. Then about 60, notice with the Iran early alert warnings, it's like 7 minutes. With the Northern Israel early alert, it's at most like 60 seconds. and then the missiles start coming. So I assure you, there was just a massive missile launch, probably 6 to 10, maybe 15 missiles, it's unclear, launched from the southern southwest portion of Lebanon, probably near Naqoura, maybe north, towards the north of Israel. And they came raining down. You saw all the alerts, and it was right past the top of the hour. Oh, what a surprise. Yes, as Chris and Silent Dogs would say, the missiles of peace. Okay, so 2.5 hours. We're not even close to done. Let me take you now to 6 hours ago, why Hezbollah is starting to fire. Here we're out of Nabatayeth, where the civil ambulances were destroyed. This is South Lebanon.
والسيارة خرجت عن الخدمة.
Hello, Sundom. Welcome to the stream.
Alhamdulillah.
This is South Lebanon this morning. This is why I'll show you why Hezbollah is retaliating. But first, let me take you to an oil depot in the Matsayvev Kurgan Rostov region of Russia, which overnight was struck by a Ukrainian long-range sanction. Yeah, that's a sanction, all right. Ukraine doesn't use economic sanctions. Ukraine uses what President Zelensky calls long-range sanctions. Now I'll show you the return Russian shelling in Ukrainian Dnipro. This was Russian shelling in retaliation in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro this morning. Yes, all we need to do is make $250 bills. That'll fix everything. Good morning, Mohammed. You know, Mohammed, what if the reason Hezbollah is being allowed to launch so many missiles is because the IRGC gave the go-ahead? Because I think I would argue after the pager attack, the Quds Force of the IRGC just assumed command and control of Hezbollah. And if you think about it, Hezbollah has been loyal to the Quds Force and the IRGC since 1982, right? So, what if you really think Hezbollah would just let Iran just ignore this? And what if Hezbollah went to Iran and said, we want to do this, and Iran said, limit yourself, we're trying to negotiate? And then what if at this point Iran's like, okay, fine, you can start doing missile salvos, you can, like they hit Haifa today. What if Iran's like, all right, if they keep doing it, you can hit Tel Aviv next? I imagine they are doing that. So, hello, First 48. So good to see you, my dear friend. God bless you. So that was the Russian attack on Dnipro. So I told you 4 hours ago, Hezbollah started firing at Haifa. Then at the same time, the alert narrowed in on Acre, ACRE, which is to the north of Haifa. Now, this is from Sidon. This is in southern Lebanon. So this is what's going on this morning. I've caught you up over the past 24 hours. This is now this morning, 4 hours ago. Mind you, this is all very active right now. And I'm going to try to get you as many updates as I can. But this is a very active situation, and it's unclear what Iran is going to do. Now, you may have seen during the intro, this is one of the U.S. planes that was at Ben Gurion Airport. I looked at its flight data. This was a U.S. KC-135. It's 638028. This is one of the planes that was at Ben Gurion Airport when Iran struck the airport. Well, it struck multiple times, but this is one of the American planes that was seriously damaged in the strikes on Ben Gurion Airport. And you can see this image, the third one in the series, is the most clear indication. That's all the repairs that were done to the plane. And you can tell it was definitely on the ground when it was hit, but the missile probably hit to the right. And the damage looks like it sprayed like under the plane. And the most serious damage was to the tail section. Now I looked at where this plane was stored. It flew into Ben Gurion in early March, and then it never left until March 26th. So it appears this plane was struck sometime between March 6th and March 26th at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. One of our planes just destroyed. It is still flying, but it needed substantial repair. I'll take you now to the town of El Marwaniyah in southern Lebanon, which was struck this morning in an Israeli raid. No video, no audio on this one, but this is South Lebanon this morning. Just devastating scenes. This is horrifying. Southern Lebanon is truly a war zone. And remember, it is central to the Iranian and U.S. peace negotiations. This is what is, other than the Strait of Hormuz, this is probably the key issue, because Iran sees itself as the protector of the people of southern Lebanon. They've been loyal to Iran for like 40 years, since the revolution in Iran, basically. And Iran will not abandon Hezbollah. And Iran calls the shots. They won the war. Here was more from southern Lebanon. Sound.
جواد أتمنى أن تكون بخير
الأحجار تناثرت. ها هي الغارة هنا. ها هي الغارة هنا. إذا الغارة كانت بالقرب من المكان الذي نقف فيه. هنا هذا المجمع الإسعافات تناثرت الأحجار على المكان الذي نقف فيه هنا في مستشفى النجدة الشعبية في مدينة النبطية. بطبيعة الحال هذه هي الدخان التي تتصاعد وتتكثف الغارات الإسرائيلية.
That was the sounds from southern Lebanon earlier today, or yesterday, excuse me. Here's the footage published by Israel's Channel 12 of the IDF raising the flag over that castle, which we'll learn more about in a second, in southern Lebanon overnight. This is the IDF on that castle.
כבשנו את הבופור, הנה החרמון. היידה, סיירת גולני, בשיתוף עם אביר 91. נראה לנו את הדגל ישראל. היידה, היידה. ואנחנו על הבופור. אביר 91 על הבופור. ביחד עם סיירת גולני תולים את הדגלים. כבשנו את הבופור, הנה החרמון.
Nightbot, how dare you? You must respect water under the fridge. Water under the fridge is the great protector of the Great Lakes. Now, taking you to Himram Hospital in Sor, Tayr, South Lebanon. This is the area of Himram Hospital in Tayr, earlier Sunday. So let's take a listen to a report from Zinab Al-Safar with Al-Mayadeen from South Lebanon overnight. Go ahead, British reporter Tal, take it away.
Conversation. What happened in Nabatea when a defeated army advances into its own trap? An expert notes. When the Israeli chief of staff meets his soldiers through a window for fear of a drone, and when soldiers are disarmed before meeting their commander-in-chief for fear of assassination, that army is not only fighting an external enemy, but also waging a war against its own broken spirit. This is precisely what is happening on the outskirts of Nabatea today. No amount of media rhetoric can change this reality. And no smoke from a burning tank can fabricate a victory statement. The incursion is not a victory, it is the shrieks of the incapable. The army, which failed to capture the core of Zortar al-Sharqiyya after weeks of continuous bombardment, resorted to an alternative flanking maneuver, attempting to circumvent the solid obstacle via Yomor al-Shakif and storm the heights of Ali al-Taha. But this very maneuver contains a trap that the commanders leading from behind failed to see. In the stark language of military strategy, every additional meter northward means longer and more exposed supply lines. Every tank advancing through the narrow, longitudinal corridors becomes a target, not a weapon. The commanding heights surrounding Yomor and Arnon do not grant the attacker a maneuvering advantage, they simply offer a pitfall from which escape is difficult. What happened in Yom al-Shakif was no accident. Merkava tanks burning from Kornet anti-tank guided missiles, 5 tanks in a single day, less than 24 hours after Netanyahu and the Chief of Staff visited the front, is a timed military response with carefully calculated symbolic intent. The battlefield writes what politicians dare not read. Hezbollah is not retreating, it is hunting. For the concerned citizen who sees an Israeli tank positioned near the Litani River and wonders where the resistance is, the answer lies in the science of strategy, not in military propaganda. The doctrine of fluid defense does not mean fleeing. It means allowing the attacking force to expand until its back is exposed and its arteries lengthen, then closing in on it at the point you have chosen, not the point they have chosen. The ambushes in Yom al-Shakif, the 2 Merkava tanks in Zortar, the Hummer in Nikkara, the D9 bulldozer in Hadatha, and forcing the advancing force to retreat from the perimeter of the stadium with direct fire, all this does not resemble an army fleeing. It resembles a hunter tightening his net. And targeting the interception system in Ras al-Nikkara, and bombarding Kiryat Shmona with a barrage of rockets that breach the Iron Dome, proves that fire superiority has not been broken. And that the battlefield remains controlled by those who have decided to fight on their land to the end. 9 hours at the Pentagon, a Lebanese delegation demanding a ceasefire, and an Israeli delegation demanding the dismantling of Hezbollah. This is not negotiation, this is blatant blackmail. Israel advances on the ground only to sell its withdrawal later at the highest political price. Hezbollah raises the cost of every advancing tank to inculcate remaining in the area impossible before withdrawal. And Tehran will not sign an agreement that does not include a ceasefire as a fundamental condition. This triangle cannot be broken by American pressure alone, nor by Israeli drones alone. An army that is disarmed in front of its commander, a chief of staff who looks at his front from behind a fishing net, and Kiryat Shmona that is bombed hours after Netanyahu visits his soldiers, these are not the signs of a victorious army. The Israeli army is advancing toward Nabatea with the haste of those who know time is running out, not with the confidence of those who know victory is near. Bottom line, wars are not won by the number of advancing armored vehicles, but by who holds out the moment the other side decides the price has become too high to bear.
Well, that's a pretty good analysis, I must say. That's obviously only one perspective. That is from an Al Mayadeen correspondent, Zinab Al-Safar. Al Mayadeen is a Lebanese channel, a Hezbollah affiliate, but needless to say, very informed perspective, take it what you will, a perspective of the resistance nonetheless, but informed, absolutely. I'm showing you now more of all of the rockets that were launched. Everything is, by the way, that was all the updates until we started the stream. Now I'm going to take you to what updates I have for you during the stream. So I caught you up everything up to my last picture of the rockets. Where was that? Now I have to cover for you everything that occurred during the stream. Okay? So this is now I think this is mistranslated, but this is in Sor, I believe, southern Lebanon. This is 2 hours ago. This is why Hezbollah is launching so many raids. This is Sor. This is right now, maybe 2 hours ago at this point. So that's Sor. Now I'll take you to Ali Hashim, who is live, who is back in Lebanon, the Al Jazeera reporter. He is driving to Beirut, but here are pictures from Sor posted by Ali, who will be reporting live from Beirut throughout the day. This is Sor, Tyre. It's a massacre. I do not use that term lightly. That's Sor. That's 2 hours ago. As I mentioned, the city of Sor is under very heavy bombardment. I'm going to show you more now from 2 hours ago in the city of Sor. Quick frame drop. We're back. I'm taking you back to March of 2026 now. This is footage of an IRGC missile misfiring during the war. You have a wonderful time with the doggos, Silent Dogs. Hello, Silent Dogs, doggos, and God bless you, my dear friend. It was so good to hang out with you today. That's an IRGC missile misfiring during the war in March. Pretty incredible footage indeed. This is an IRGC missile misfiring during the war in March. The missile does not do a good job, unfortunately. So that was one of the Iranian missiles that did not reach its target during the war. This is near Abu Deeb roundabout in Askayan, southern Lebanon this morning, 2 hours ago. Scenes of absolute destruction. Now you can see why the French have called for an immediate emergency Security Council meeting about southern Lebanon. These are, and I do not, I mean, what you are seeing there is disturbing. On every level, in every sense of the term, just absolute, utter humanitarian destruction. Here's more from the city of Sor. This is this morning. This is disturbing. I'm now going to show you more of the impacts on the ancient city of Tyre, Sor.
They're literally above, but you cannot see them. In this, they're literally above you, but you cannot see them.
Heartbreaking. Now I'll show you families on the beach in Sor watching the bombs hit. Ya Allah. Ya Allah. Ya Allah. Heartbreaking. Taking you now more on the ground scenes from the city of Sor.
نحن وبالغارة غارة تانية على مدينة سور. نحن وبقلب الغارة هلا عملوا غارة تانية على مدينة سور. نحن وبالغارة غارة تانية على مدينة سور.
Just destructive scenes in Tyre or Sor. I'll take you now to Gaza, where Israeli aggression continues this morning. These are the latest scenes from Gaza, which was hit again this morning. This is Gaza this morning, Palestine. Just scenes of absolute destruction throughout Palestine and southern Lebanon. Taking you now, I showed you the aftermath of the strikes on Sor. I'll show you now more images of the strikes on Sor. I think we've actually seen all of these. And now I'll show you more from South Lebanon this morning.
غارة تانية هلا تستهدف مدينة سور قدام الغارة الأولانية. غارة تانية هلا تستهدف مدينة سور قدام الغارة الأولانية.
Same area of Sor, you can tell by the cloud. Hezbollah, for their part, published footage this morning, 1 hour ago. It's from May 26th. showing an attack on specifically the Kayat al-Raj and Deir Seran, southern Lebanon, where Israeli soldiers were in Lebanese territory. Let's take a look. From May 26, released this morning. The latest from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. More alerts. Drone alerts in the north. Drone in the north. Deep into the DMZ to the east of Danafa. Oh, 4 drones towards the Syrian-Israeli border to the east of Beit Hilal. Actually, some of the drones are in the occupied DMZ near Syria, near the Golan Heights. This is the Upper Galilee. Oh, one of them's a red alert. I'm not sure if it's a missile or just a drone red alert. But yes, a lot of activity. Silent Dogs is not with us, but the alarms continue to ring. Oh, drones everywhere. They're just popping up all over that northern part of Israel. They just continue over and over and over. Wave after wave after wave of Hezbollah attack today. We've seen it live on stream. Just wave after wave after wave. Here's Kinat Yar al-Sanabar in the Sidon district in southern Lebanon. This is 1 hour ago. You can see now why Hezbollah is responding with such ferocity. There is just destruction throughout southern Lebanon. Just absolute destruction. More drones in the north. More drones in the north. I repeat, more drones in the north. This has been, if you've been watching this coverage during the ceasefire, this is a more rapid pace of alerts than any time during the war, ceasefire, quote-unquote ceasefire. It's just constant. Grant Your Channel shows us what is happening. Oh, God bless you, Shannon. I'm happy to show it. Seth says, save the goats. Absolutely. Hashtag save the goats. We must save the goats. It is a moral imperative. I showed you the video of the Israeli troops on the castle. Here's the video of the Israeli troops raising the flag over that castle last night in southern Lebanon. Wow, there was actual attacks going on as they tried to do it. Alerts! More drones. Oh, I told you they were not kidding around. Drones. Drones in Kiryat Shimona now. Drones everywhere. It is just drone warfare and missile warfare. It's near constant. Yes, it's meant to be annoying so you don't ignore it. They're supposed to go to their protected space. It's meant to wake you from sleep, and trust me when I say. Here's an update from Courtney Boneo. one of the most excellent English-speaking reporters in the south of Lebanon, Courtney Boneo. Let's take a listen to her report from this morning regarding Nabatayeth and Sor.
I'm reporting to you from the city of Nabatea, where Israeli attacks have been escalating rapidly over the past couple of days. On the drive here, there was an airstrike in front of us that cut off the road, and before that, we saw the wreckage of multiple drone and airstrikes all along the road, which is actually the main road into Nabatea. I also received a report that the city of Sur was hit by 5 massive Israeli airstrikes. I just left Sur to come here to Nabatea. Many residents are still living in the city, including me. Some are in their homes and some are in shelters. There's no casualties yet for the airstrikes. They just happened. Behind me, you can see Beaufort Castle. This is significant because Israeli forces advanced to the castle from Zautar, which is also behind me here. The Israelis didn't manage to establish a permanent presence at the castle, and I'll talk more about that in the caption. The Israeli army is illegally invading and occupying Lebanon and committing acts of genocide. American tax dollars are paying for it.
It's just even if I silence the alarms, they just keep going. Now it's Marjaliot, Kiryat Shimona, the north of the occupied Golan Heights, the DMZ near Syria, and then Kiryat Shimona itself to the west of Kiryat Shimona and Marjaliot. They're just everywhere. Hezbollah is just very upset, rightfully so. You can see the scale of destruction in southern Lebanon. Now I'll show you footage from Hezbollah released this morning from May 27th, though. So it's just a flurry of activity this morning, constant. Latest from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. My name is Grant Smith Ellis. Our breakfast stream has turned into a nearly 3-hour ongoing documentation of the chaos, quite frankly, that is occurring in southern Lebanon and northern Israel. It is 10:35 p.m. on Sunday, May 31st, 2026. It is 3:35 p.m. in South Africa. It's 4:35 p.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's 5:05 p.m. in Tehran, Iran. Save the goats indeed. Now, I think after 3 hours, you all have earned a little mental decompression break. I think I gave you that update. I showed you the scenes from Nabatayeth. These are the most recent scenes, just 21 minutes ago, and then we will take a mental decompression break. This is Nabatayeth in South Lebanon. And for Water Under the Fridge, I'll be checking if the Ill Bill song is in the catalog. Well, did you know that Jesus is the most quoted prophet in the Quran, OG? Does that surprise you? Oh, you are going to love this. Water Under the Fridge. War is My Destiny by Ill Bill is in the library, my dear friend. All right. It is time. After 3 hours, ladies and gentlemen, you have earned it. You have earned a mental decompression break with the towel. I'm going to get the goat video. I know you all. Everyone loves the goat video. Mimi, I saw now. Mimi's probably sleeping still, but Mimi left a comment. Mimi loves the goats. Now, if you've never seen a goat video, let me just explain. These goats were forced out of their home in southern Lebanon on March 9th, 2026. How do I know? Because they were marching through the streets of Beirut. Now, we love these goats, okay? They're adorable little goats. Everybody loves the goats. If you don't like goats, you know, it's like saying you don't like horses or cows or dogs or chickens. I just look at you and I'm just utterly baffled. Why? Because I think goats are wonderful. Now, did you know, by the way, that Standing Stones sent me a picture of a goat? That goat is pretty awesome. Standing Stones is awesome. But let me show you our goat video, okay? So on March 9th, 2026, these goats, these specific goats, these are our goats. Well, they actually belong to a farmer in South Lebanon. But these goats were displaced from their home, and I will not stand for it. Save the goats. There's a little baby goat. So we're going to listen to a song requested by the one, the only, the protector of the Great Lakes during your mental decompression break, Water Under the Fridge. The song is War Is My Destiny by Ill Bill. It's in the catalog. Let's take a listen. Goes well with the goats.
And I slain dragons in 8 states during famine. Had the seeds of war planted in a dirty tavern. Had the seeds of presidents killed in a burst of anger. And had their parents bleed to death on the floor of a dirty bathroom. I watched the palace burn. I seen the ashes of my comrades return to their family in an urn. While a proud child remembers his father that died, the cycle continues with vengeance alive in his mind.
I wonder if the goats would like this. Good song. I'd play it for the goats.
I was an angel before a third of the stars fell. Cast with the stirring from Satan into the pit of hell. Our beloved leader forced to be a bottom feeder. The great deceiver that promised victory over the monkey lovers. We took a vote to his structure, betrayed and fell upon him. We ripped his skin off and crowned a new son of the morning. A new president to lead our corporation. The vengeance on God and heaven's domination. But I seduced the daughters of men and made the Nephilim. I demanded human sacrifice from the rest of them. I became the spirit that tortured and protected them. And I built them the tower of language that connected them. And then the Lord cried, water falling out from his eyes. And my children died drowning in the tears from the sky. And it was then that Satan called back to me with a plan, a design for the ultimate corruption of man. See, back then we used to set the chosen ones on fire. You really think God only sent a single Messiah? And so we allowed the birth of many prophets on earth. And since the followers were human, they were born with a curse. They began to claim superiority to their brothers. And for 85,000 years conquered each other. And when they prayed before battle, they were praying to me, killing in God's name, cause war's my destiny.
Good verse. You might be right, Seth. Oh, I love it, Water Under the Fridge. Thank you. What a great song. Great request from the one, the only, the defender of the Great Lakes himself. Water Under the Fridge. We got our goat video. That was great. All right. You got me for 3 hours on a breakfast stream. I hope you all feel that you have sufficiently got your fill of Sunday Towel. Last day of the month. So, oh, by the way, I should do a donation read. I do need a little help this month. So if you are sitting around and you're like, oh, I can help Towel. I've been waiting for him to say that he needs help. Okay, that would be it. Today would be a great day. I didn't do any donation reads the whole time. Of course, I announced your jewels and your wonderful support and your super chats. But yes, you can support this stream in a number of ways. This is a public information service. I strive to educate, inform, and entertain. 20% entertainment, 40% education, 40% information, I strive to engender cogent public discourse, such as to ward off the usurpation of our forms of government worldwide. No paywalls, no charge, ever. If you want to support it, though, and allow other people without resources to access this information, it's reached 180 countries over the past 90 days, this Towel News Network, youtube.com/@GrantSmithEllis. No, we're like millions of views at this point, but it doesn't really get ad revenue because, well, it's war coverage, and I don't think there should be an incentive to do it. But if you want to keep me alive, keep me fed, my birthday was last week. I graduated law school. Thank you all for all of your wonderful support. I tried to send you all thank you notes. God bless each and every one of you. There is a PayPal. There's a Cash App. There's a Venmo in reverse order. The Cash App is # Grant Smith Ellis. The Venmo is @GrantE1. The PayPal is paypal.me/Grant Ellis. You can find those links in the chat. Thank you so much to everyone of you who's been here today. Thank you for being with me on Towel News on Sunday for a breakfast stream. There are also other ways to support. You can subscribe to the channel. You can like the stream while it's live. You can let people know about Towel News Network, youtube.com/@Grant Smith Ellis. It's a great way to support. There's a Towel Discord. You can find information about that in the chat as well. God bless each and every one of you, as I mentioned. Thank you all for being here. It's been a great Towel Sunday, even among the chaos that's going on. I continue to pray for peace and for the protection of the goats. Now, I would be remiss if, before I got out of here, I did not show my friend Francine, even though she's probably not awake yet, her friend, Pete Bunny. Now, Pete Bunny Towel, he is the channel mascot. He only comes out at the end of the stream. He was napping. He's a bunny. He's fluffy. He's a Pete Bunny. All right? Tiffany Bob, it was so good to see you. God bless you, my friend. Now, ladies, thank you all so much again for your kind support and compassion today. You are all wonderful and loved. Now, Pete Bunny Towel comes out at the end of the stream, where he says hello to his friend Francine. And then, even if she watches on replay. And also, I like to do Tippecanoe and Tyler too. So if you've never been here before for Tippecanoe and Tyler too, I like to do the U.S. presidents in order to check my mental acuity at the end of a long stream. All right? So, you got President Washington, and then you got President Adams, President Jefferson, President Madison, President Monroe, President Adams Jr., President Jackson, President Van Buren, skip 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is Fillmore, President Fillmore. Now we do Tippecanoe and Tyler too. So you got Polk, Taylor, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump. How about them apples? Oh, Kara, it was so good to see you today. God bless you. Water under the fridge. You have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Now, this is a public information service, and if you, Tiffany Bob, you as well, First 48, oh, gee, it was great to see both of you. If you enjoyed this stream, if you learned something today, if you found camaraderie in the chat, if you found the information edifying, I hope you will consider paying it forward in other ways, maybe through something like a donation to our homeless vets or our service members or their families. I don't know about you, but I feel if there's even one veteran homeless in the United States of America against their will, then we have failed as a society, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if they want to go live, a veteran wants to live in the woods, I'm not going to stop them. All right, they got survival skills, but not against their will. No veteran should be homeless. They served our country. They defended the freedoms that allow us to talk about these things and keep ourselves informed. God bless all of them, and do consider a donation to our homeless veterans or our service members or their families today. Now, what if you really like animals and our veterans and our service members? Have you considered potentially giving a donation to animal shelters run by service members or veterans, or that assist our service members and veterans? It's a great way to help our furry friends, and it's a great way to help our service members or veterans. If you can't find such a charity, though, you may consider a donation to an animal shelter in general. Why not take the time today to help our furry friends? Now, if you're in the UK, you may consider a donation to The Big Issue. They can't yell anymore in the corner to sell their newspaper, but you can help a good cause that helps those in need of housing resources in the UK by donating to The Big Issue. Now, it doesn't have to be a donation, though. It can be something as simple as smiling at someone on the street, reaching out to a friend or family member you haven't heard from in a while, or yes, even, ladies and gentlemen, even giving away 200 tomato plants like Francis Futrell did one time and having them designated honorary towels during the outro forevermore. Yes, in that way, may we pray the current realpolitik continues to change from one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our power to instead one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our capacity to engage in small acts of service and kindness rooted in unconditional love. In turn, allowing us to live up to our Tao eudaimonia or summum bonum, our greatest good in the ancient Greek or Latin respectively, therein bringing about a new digital epoch defined by Aquarius the water bearer standing tall and carrying a Peep Bunny towel. Marcia, my dear friend, and Tiffany, Bob, and Standing Stones, and all of you out there, I believe it's possible because of you all, and Shannon, my dear friend, and I'm so grateful to have spent the time with you today. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for supporting Towel Stream. Thank you for being you. And, oh, of course, there's Rocket Fire. I guess I'm going to get played out. Wow, this is very deep Rocket Fire. Hezbollah has launched Rocket Fire all the way into Safed. I guess Hezbollah wanted to... Oh, goodness, no, it's actually everywhere on the line. South of Avamine, and then in Dalton, and then Bavira and Safed. Oh, so just as we were about getting ready to go, just rocket fire everywhere from south of Avamine all the way through Safed, which is, as you can see here, in the northern part of Israel, basically northeast of Haifa, to the east of Nirhania, and to the south of Kiryat Shimona. It's at the confrontation line, but it does spread pretty far into Safed. So Hezbollah wanted to send a message as we were getting ready. Don't worry, if there is massive developments, I will, of course, go live again today. I would like to spend some time with Towel Girlfriend, though. She's wonderful, and I just adore her. She just warms my heart each and every day. But before we get out of here, amidst the rocket fire in the north of Israel, which I will continue to monitor, allow me to both put up the flag that I like to put up and also play our outro song. So allow me to play the U.S. Star-Spangled Banner as we approach the 250th anniversary of my wonderful country that I do adore so much. Here's a nice American flag. Let me get the Star-Spangled Banner up for you. Oh, more rocket fire, I'm sure, incoming. Yes, substantial amount of rocket fire. I am well aware. It's very deeply concerning. So as I play you the Star-Spangled Banner, this thus concludes your broadcast day on Towel News, youtube.com/ at Grant Smith Ellis. I do encourage you to continue to follow along, continue to be you, and do continue to spread kindness and happiness. I pray for peace on this Sunday. I pray for all the people in the world impacted by these horrifying ongoing developments, and more so than anything else, I pray for all of us that we may somehow find a resolution to this horrifying ongoing conflict. But yes, I would like to play you the Star-Spangled Banner. So let me get the version that I like, if you would pray my indulgence. It takes me... There's one specific version that I like that is played, that is already in my library. So let me just find it. My name is Grant Smith Ellis. This thus will conclude your broadcast day on Towel News. Where is it? No, I want only the ones that I have the ability to play. Thank you. I already have it saved, so it will have a heart next to it. I think it's this one. Let us begin. God bless you all. Thank you for watching.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
God bless you all. That concludes your broadcast day on Towel News. Oh, that's a nice version. I might have to listen to that and play it next time. God bless you all. Thank you for watching Towel News. As Tiffany Bob says, play ball and have a wonderful Sunday. My name is Grant Smith Ellis.